All right, for those of you here in the paddock and for those of you tuning in from live around the world, welcome back to Castle Motorsports Park. It's King of the Castle, and it is time for main event Sunday. But before we get there, we need to set the final starting grids for the Stars Championship Series classes. Pre-finals onto the racetrack now here, beginning with your KA100 Master Division. 2 full rounds of heat races were run yesterday. A local blackout, unfortunately, took out a number of classes, but both KA Masters heats were broadcasted, and so everyone knows exactly where they are. We also have highlights coming up later on here through this broadcast to keep an eye on those headline OKN and Pro Stars divisions. We'll update you on all the action that went down. Of course, those of you that watched our YouTube page as well, you got to hear a lot of the interviews from all of the superstars throughout yesterday on how their days panned out. Lots of interesting storylines to talk about. My name's Andrew Clemens here in the booth. Alongside me, Simon Sykes, as we get set to bring you the action here for the Stars Championship Series KA Masters. Let's quickly bring you through the starting lineup here. Of course, what a day yesterday it was for the likes of John Bonanno and Andy Kutcher. They are on your front row here, and we go through the rest of the grid. Christopher Horan and Mark Steele make up row number 2. The number 2 plate from last season, Ryan Kastner, has his Maranello starting 5th alongside Jacob Neary. Row 4's got Brian Daniele, who was so strong at Trackhouse Motorplex. He's in 7th. Chris Kutcher, 8th. Sean Bailiff, the captain of the Trinity Karting Group, rolls off 9th. Mingnan Zhu in 10th. And we are under power and down to turn number 1. We're green for KA Masters side by side, about 4th on back. The whole field will cycle on through, and once again, Andy Kutcher, the white helmet aboard that red and black Red Speed, leads them into the Monza for the first time today.
And clean through the turns, the shark fin Monza turn, a new feature of this reverse layout track. One driver I would like to keep an eye on, Christopher Rand, struggled in the second round of heat racing yesterday. So strong in the first, led flag to flag to win that one, but issues late in the second heat race will drop him farther down the order. We'll be looking at him to come back through the field. Out front, Andy Kushner, your leader. Yeah,
Kutcher leads them into turn number 11, that cell tower hairpin, as it's commonly known here at Castle Motorsports Park, and it's one long train of go-karts here behind him. Like Simon said, Christopher Horan led the majority of the laps yesterday, dominated the day in heat number 1 with a flag-to-flag victory. Heat number 2 led a good amount there, and then a problem sent him further down the order. He's in that 224 black suit, purple and white Cosmic Kart, right behind Ryan Kastner right now in that leading group of 7. They'll come across the line this time here to start and complete the first full lap of competition. And as we head down the front stretch, a little bit wide there coming onto the front stretch for Ryan Kastner. That'll hurt his momentum for 3rd, but we've got a challenge coming for 2nd. Mark Steele looking, decided to pull back in line here again. That kink, that dog leg, turn 1, heading into the corner. It kind of negates a little bit of those slow, long-running toe runs they get at the end of the straightaway, because the leading driver will clip that apex and then open back up for the corner instead of a long straightaway where they stay on one side, and when it's easier to pull up alongside in that slingshot draft effect.
And John Bonanno now closing up on your leader, Andy Kushner. Bonanno running strong all day yesterday, has not won a heat race yet, but top 3 all day, had strong pace. This entire top group swapping orders throughout the heat races, so now into pre-final action. They'll be looking to set the grid for the final later today. They'll try and keep it clean, but I'm sure each driver wanting to move up forward and improve their starting spot for your final later on.
Andy Kutcher looked good coming out of the cell tower that time. He pulled away a little bit from the comp cart of John Bonanno. He's got about a car length or 2 headed to turns 15, 16, and 17 to close out the lap, and then turn 18, that full throttle right-hander. He'll clip a little curb. Bonanno going with the alternate line to keep all 4 wheels on the ground, but he got a good exit there. Decent exit onto the straightaway. He needs a big run. Let's see if Mark Steele looks again. He does, this time with Bonanno a little further back. He's going to go through the grass down to turn number 2, and he thinks better of it. And look at Ryan Kastner. I don't think he meant to get in that hot there, Simon. He locked the rear tires up trying to get one spot. He's going to end up losing one in net as Chris Horan gets back through, and he'll try and take it back through turn number 4. He does, and a net neutral result as Ryan Kastner was on the cusp of getting a spot. Here's a look from Chris Kutcher now on Horan. He'll go by. Crossover move back from Horan coming out of turn number 7 and through into turn number 8. Brian Daniele still right there, and this is all just going to kind of accordion them backwards from the leaders.
Great action. Start this pre-final off here. You see Chris Horan on your screen going to work. He'll make that move to the inside, move him up 1 spot. And Kasner, like you had mentioned earlier, we saw that same move yesterday. Unfortunately, not through the grass like we just saw, but he tried to make that move into the cell tower corner, that over an I-70 off into turn 2. Wasn't quite able to make it stick yesterday. Lost 2 spots out of it today, getting a net neutral. So he'll be looking to make those moves stick later in this race. We saw him with a lot of pace in the heat races early on. We'll see what he can do, as he's currently sitting P5 in this line. P4 now.
Big run again from Mark Steele. Let's see if he does something with it. He's going to push John Bonanno all the way to the moon down to turn number 2, and that'll cut that gap in half to Andy Kutcher, who has yet to see a challenge for the lead. 8 minutes plus 2 laps here to go in this one, and now he'll pull the trigger. Steele looking probably one of the fastest karts on the racetrack the last couple laps. You could see it even in the final couple turns. He was all over Bonanno's rear bumper, kind of shoving him forward from corner entry, apex, and exit. And now he's got a little bit of breathing room to kind of hunt down the race leader. Little bobble there as he clips that inside curb over in the green corner, turn number 8, through 9, over to 10, and then into 11. Let's see how he looks on the backside of the racetrack. This part right here, one of the more technical parts of the racetrack, both in forwards and backwards direction. But on this Stars National layout, I think it's even a little bit tougher. A lot of switchback corners, just really one big rhythm section on the circuit. But with 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go, let's send it down to pit lane. Alexander Searle and Caleb Vieska have been getting intel for us all weekend long, and they've got a little bit more as this race starts to shake on out.
Yeah, thanks, Xander. While the race slows down just a little bit, I want to give you guys a bit of intel from yesterday's racing action. A lot of drivers complained to me about the track being very greasy due to just the immense heat that Greenfield, Indiana received yesterday. Track was super greasy, especially for our headline classes, the faster divisions, OKN Stars and Pro Rock Stars. Made it really difficult for them to maintain rear stability throughout the entire day. Really emphasized the importance of tire pressures and PSI to get it right. OKN Stars, though, speaking of, Alex Stanfield swept the day, pole position, heat 1, under fire all race long from Henry Wheeler, able to hang on to the win. Heat 2, walked away with the victory over Josh Campbell. In the shifter, Pro Rock Stars, a little bit of controversy and drama there for AJ Myers. Couldn't get the kart going for heat 1, heat 2. Pretty dominating performance there, rolling off mid-pack for the pre-final today. Tim Troger going to roll off P1. First time in the States here. Looking to be a good one there in Pro Rock Stars. Back to you guys in the booth.
Yeah, should be a very interesting day. Of course, not the level of controversy I think anyone wanted in that field to end off Saturday, but it makes things very enticing to watch here today. We'll go through the highlights from those heat races so you guys can see exactly what happened, but exactly as Alex described it, AJ Myers, a late entry here into the weekend, the multi-time pro shifter champion, and his last time at the Stars Championship Series, won from the rear of the field at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. He entered here with just one practice session on Friday afternoon, was super quick, pulled it in qualifying, and then, like Alex said, a break in that first heat race, and then heat 2 with a tire advantage of less laps on the MG tire rubber, was able to pull away for the win. He mentioned himself, he knows it's going to be a little bit closer as that tire degradation starts to balance back out, and then brand new sticker MGs for the end of the day. As here we had some problems in the back. Brian Daniele and Chris Kutcher kind of losing some ground this lap and last lap. The leaders have walked away from them. So in a little change, Daniele now takes over 7th, Chris Kutcher back to 6th. But while we've been focusing on all the other storylines this weekend, this one has been still brewing. Mark Steele, I thought, was close enough that time to maybe go to the lead in turn number 2, Simon. He opted not to, and it's kept this pack really tight for the front 6.
It's certainly been close racing. In turn number 2, it looked like Mark Steele got in the back of Andy just a little bit as they worked their way into the corner, and that is backed up. Now we've got 5-6 karts all in one line fighting for that top spot. Andy Kutcher still leading ahead of Mark Steele and Bonanno, as usual, consistent inside the top 3 where he wants to be. Remember, we're just setting this grid up for the final race later today, so the drivers aren't going to want to see any incidents, anything high risk. They're going to keep it nice and clean, just make sure they get on to the final. And we see Mark Steele leaning way back in his seat, trying to duck below that air, get him some straight line speed as he tries to get up to Andy Kutcher in front.
Yeah, and he got a big push again from Bonanno as around goes Chris Horan, up and over and down the embankment on the outside of turn number 2, and the driver who dominated heat 1 and most of heat number 2 has spun off to the wayside in the pre-final. One of the fastest drivers here all weekend long, that number 224 Cosmic. He's desperately trying to drag it back up the embankment so he can at least complete the session. More drivers coming up through the hill, and he'll get back going all the way at the rear of the field for Christopher Horan.
Unfortunate break for Chris there. Like we said, he had issues in that second heat race yesterday, but undoubtedly one of the best drivers in this field. Has been dominant to start the weekend. Issue on that kart, and now a tough break for the driver of that machine. Christopher Horan going to start way back in the final here. He's going to have his work cut out for him. Up front, Andy Kushner, Mark Steele leading away. Bonanno about a kart length back from those two, and Jacob Neary still in tow.
Really good line there for Mark Steele through turn 16. That quick left-hander that sets up the run to the front straightaway. They're full throttle through both of those right-hand corners, or as close as they can be. He's got a big run. He'll look to the inside through the dog leg. Side by side as they drop a tire into the grass. New leader, Mark Steele, the Canadian, goes to the front over Andy Kutcher. And for the first time here in this pre-final, we've got a change at the top of the leaderboard through turn 4. No instant counterattack just yet. Bonanno was a little bit too far back to challenge as well, but the front 5 all still nose to tail as they exit turn number 6.
They're all running about the same lap times as you would expect. The draft playing a big role in these 100cc classes. This KA100 Masters division is going to be determined by who gets that draft, who can make strategy calls on when to make the moves they need to. With just over 2 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this pre-final, we'll see where they all sort out. Mark Steele still sitting there up front. Andy Kushner sitting right behind him. And Bonanno, as usual, like I said, Mr. Consistency, sitting there in third, waiting to make his moves.
Yeah, he's looking on right there through the quick right-hander, little brush of the brake pedal. Same thing over here at turn number 16, and that's where Mark Steele's been the best. He pulled a kart length right there by just taking a shorter line, jumping over the curbing, and it sets him up for a nice launch onto this long front straightaway. It won't be enough to get clear of the toe. It'll be a big run for Andy Kutcher. I don't think he'll do anything with it, and with 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go, there's still time to kind of work his way back to the lead. He's right there. A great run out of turn number 2 this time. And looking further back, Ryan Kastner, Jacob Neary, they're losing a little bit of touch with the top 3. About a 2 car length gap right now to the front runners, so they could be losing a bit. And if they stay single file up front, it might increase that margin from 3rd back to 4th. So that's something to keep our eye on here in this lead group. Brian Daniele is still about 3 seconds back from the leaders. He'd need a lot of battling and a lot of defensive driving to bring him into the mix. I think it could just be these front 5, and it's potentially just the front 3 if Ryan Kastner along with Jacob Neary start to lose touch. But they've closed back up once again. A minute plus 2 laps to go. This will be basically 4 laps remaining at the start-finish line, because the next time by, the timer will have hit 0 through that right-hand turn 15. And here we go once again. Mark Steele over there. Now all those drivers starting to learn from the leader's line and clip a little bit of the inside curb. They're not as good as he is here through the back sector, and that's what's kind of keeping him in a safe, out-of-reach distance by the time he gets to turn number 2. That amazing launch. This time Kutcher is close enough, though, and he'll prove me wrong as he tries the inside. Not enough to stay on the inside and get clear, though, and he has to back out of it.
And a slight bit of contact will drop him just a kart length behind the leader. As we speak, Ryan Kastner to the inside. He'll make that move around John Bonanno. Contact between Bonanno and Jacob Neary as they fight for that 4th and 5th position. Still dicing on. This might let the leaders get away here, Xander.
Yeah, they went back and forth there. Bonanno kind of took a second to kind of let Kastner through, and that kind of hurt his momentum and set him on the outside, and he loses 2 spots in just as many corners. And now, like we had with the script just a moment ago of Kastner and Neary being a little further away from the top 3, Bonanno and Neary with some time to make back up towards the leaders. Mark Steele continues to control this race out in front, and a big off there for Ryan Kastner as he drops a wheel. He'll shake the tires to try and clean him back up. That mistake is not what he needed here in the closing stages. He needed to stay close enough to Andy Kutcher to maybe get up to 2nd and set up to be in a catbird seat for the battle on the final 2 laps. But 3 to go here at the line. No, 2 to go as the timer hits 0 on that lap. So 2 remaining. Here comes Kutcher to the inside. He'll retake the lead. Steele back to 2nd, and we've got a battle on our hands at the front.
And Andy Kutcher not going to fight he'll go cleanly through to the lead on that one. Mark Steele is going to give him that spot. See if they can't break away from the 3 karts behind him. Turn it into a 2-kart race up here at the front. Behind them, the 3 karts dicing out for the final spot on the podium there. Obviously, just the pre-final set the grid, so no awards for this race, but starting position for the final going to be so important here, Xander.
Mark Steele, like many of these K100 Master drivers, is a long-time racer in the sport, but over the last few years, he's become a low-horsepower division specialist, spending a lot of time running those 9-horsepower Briggs & Stratton 206 engines up in Canada. This class, of course, 22 horses on the engines, but a big enough track, 1.2 miles in length on the Stars National Circuit. It's still at 22 horsepower, feels like a big draft-reliant circuit. That's why we've seen him be very patient here in this pre-final. He spent a lot of his time following. We've not seen a crazy level of aggression like we're used to seeing in some of the younger, less experienced divisions, but 30 years of age and older for the KA Master class. You get a little bit more experience, a little bit more patience. Now let's see that put to work and probably go out the window as the white flag waves. Steele's setting Kutcher up, goes high, looks low, inside, turn 2, back to the lead for Mark Steele, and behind him, Jacob Neary, John Bonanno closing back in on the leaders. Kastner rebounding from his mistake, had fallen to 5th. He's still in the line, and a little love tap going through turn 4.
And as we see these 2 leaders come through, that fight over in turn 2 is going to let that 3rd place kart of Jacob Neary close back in just a little bit. Over a kart length separates the top 4. Now this fight turning into a good one as we are on the final circuit of this pre-final here. Andy Kushner still all over the back of Mark Steele, defense heavy. We saw them playing nice just a couple of laps ago. Now everything's out the window. Elbows are out. We're seeing who can take home the first starting spot for the final later this afternoon.
Out of turn 14, Mark Steele's got Kutcher still close, but he's only got 1, maybe 2 passing zones left. If he just blocks the inside in this left-hander, he should be good. He'll leave it open, but not open enough. Should be all set and square to the final couple corners. Mark Steele will collect the pre-final victory in KA100 Masters. He punches his ticket to the pole for the main event, and a little emphatic pump for the fist there, and a thumbs up as well to the rest of that lead pack. Very clean and methodical racing to kick off our Sunday, and some good action for sure, but a nice sign to see some respect throughout that entire lead group, and a lot of good action all the way as the checkered flag waves for the rest of the field. They'll cycle on through, and we can show you your top 10 finishers. Mark Steele, of course, ends on top at the 11 laps completed. Andy Kutcher second. Jacob Neary picks up 3 spots to move up to 3rd, and a very safe starting spot on the inside of row 2 for the main event. John Bonanno 4th, Kastner 5th, Brian Daniele 6th. Brant Estes picks up 9 spots, a big run from the rear of the field to 7th. Chris Kutcher falls to 8th and stays net neutral. Gordon Cameron, along with Jamie Bradford, there to top 10. Anthony Stifler, Chris Stevens, Bob Davis, Tom Gerstner, Jeff Clyde, Christopher Horan, and Kevin Simonellic, your 17 drivers in KA Masters. So 1 down, and now we move through the rest of the lineup here. It's the Stars Championship Series, King of the Castle, round 2 of the championship, live on Kart Chaser. We're back. Share it, like it, comment it, and send it around to all your friends, family, and your fans back home. We are live on the air, and we'll be back with more action. Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park as the engines come to life for group number 2. Problems heading onto the racetrack. That is for the number 14 comp kart machine here in MicroSwift. And we've seen this be a trouble spot for many of the younger drivers heading onto the racetrack with cold tires out of the grid. It's a long little short chute there. We'll see if he can get himself turned back around and try to hopefully join the field back on up. So, again, you're watching the Stars Championship Series King of the Castle here live from Newcastle Motorsports Park. My name's Xander Clements, alongside me, Simon Sykes. And, again, this pit exit has definitely been a tricky spot for a number of drivers just trying to get out onto the racetrack. But let's go through the lineup for your MicroSwift division as they get set for action here this morning. A number of good battles throughout yesterday, and unfortunately, a few changes throughout this one. We have one driver going to the rear of the field, Cade Wolf, on that Timmy Tech Comp Kart roll-off shotgun on the field back in 24 due to an engine change, so a long way forward for Cade, and let's go from there on up. You have Caleb Smith on his inside of row number 12. Row 11's got Drake Williamson and Layet Simonellik. Rounding your top 20, you've got Trip Golnick on the outside, Christopher Lavoie on the inside. Row 9, George Zeminski and Sterling Mulata. Row 8, it'll be Hudson Howard and Austin Taylor. Row 7, Callahan Myers and Tatsumi White. Row 6, Griffin Vukic and Parker Stewart, and you get to your top 10. Danny O'Gara's MPG Motorsports Kart Republic starts on the outside in 10th. Bryson Scales on the inside in 9th. Riley Dobelier will start to the outside of row 4 alongside Asher Ferris. Then you have Anthony Mazzuculo and Lawrence Perriman on row number 3, and then your top 4 that have been the top 4 that have broken away all weekend long. You've got that blue and red energy on the outside, starting 4th for Team GWR, Colton Schneegenberg. To the inside, that black and blue Kart Republic for Team Ferris Racing of Jake Manalio. And your front row, his teammate, the number 90 machine of Enzo De Janeiro on the outside. And on the inside, the Texan in his, I believe, first race, if one of first of few, with the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic camp. The green and white number 50 has Emerson Lane on the pole. It's been a decent Saturday for him, but a solid starting spot to begin the pre-final here on Sunday morning. A nice and slow start for Emerson and Enzo on the front row. 24 drivers strong here at Newcastle. Let's see how the young guns can get things going. This is the youngest class on the Stars Championship Series structure, ages 7 to 10 years old. These kids again in elementary school, and they are superstars, and they put on some great racing, but this is a little bit awkward on the start. Might get some penalties there as we go green down to turn number 1, a few ducking out of line, but we're racing away into turn number 2. They fan out 2, 3, 4 abreast out of the corner, and everyone's going to survive. Emerson Lane will lead them into the Monza for the first time, and a great start for Jake Manalio to second, and what a start on that BJR NDR Lando Norris kart. I believe that is going to be potentially Anthony Mazzuculo on the number 6 that's moved his way up, if I'm not mistaken. But what a shake-up here for the field. The outside lane lost quite a bit. Colton Schneegenberg in the 16th slotted into that 4th or 5th spot, and it's a 2-car breakaway as they exit turn number 8.
Like you said, it was a bit of an awkward start, but we saw 2, 3, 4 wide into turn 2, and then again coming out of turn 2 into the shark fin. Everyone made it through clean, surprisingly, and we're starting to see the field spread out just a little bit. That number 9, Jake Manalio, all over the back of your current leader in that Trinity Karting Group, number 50 of Emerson Lane, taking the early lead in this race here, Xander, with a several kart length lead over the drivers in P3 and farther back.
Yeah, and Jake Manalio lost a little time there here on the opening lap as they slowly bring those tires up to temperature. It's going to be not the best handling go-karts for everybody as they head onto the front straightaway. Here's a look at Colton Schneegenberg at the end of the first lap from 4th back to 5th. It was actually the number 28. What a start for Lawrence Perriman to 3rd, and here comes Jake Manalio to the lead down to turn number 2. He'll quickly go by Emerson Lane and get clear by the end of that long pond straightaway. And as they exit 2 and head towards turn number 3, it'll back them up just a little bit. Lawrence Perriman trying to lead that pack back to the top 2. He crossed the line that time 9/10 away from the leaders. That's just outside that ever exclusive drafting window. Behind him there, 4th across the line was Bryson Scales with a good start as well in the BJR camp number 12. Colton Schneegenberg fell back to 7th here as he got passed by the 29 of Asher Ferris. Ferris now under fire. They're side by side. Enzo De Janeiro, the off-pole kid, started 2nd, fell way back. He's now getting himself back to the top 5. Schneegenberg will go to 6th. And then he's even under fire for more. Asher Ferris from that Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro kart, I believe, of Parker Stewart as he rolls into 8th. Pass behind him as well. That's 9th and 10th going at it. That's between Anthony Mazzucchello, Tatsumi White, and Danny O'Gara, and all the way back there. So 11 drivers loosely tied at the front. Here comes O'Gara back on the inside of Mazzucchello. Not going to get by there into turn number 15.
As I head through the last couple corners of this track, we're starting to see the field spread out even more. Those top two, Emerson Lane and Jake Manalio, checking out on their fellow competitors. A fast time, a 21.7 last time by for Jake Manalio. Of course, assisted by Draft a little bit, but that's going to be a good half second quicker than their competition in third place and farther back. So as we see the top two start to break away, the battle for third will start heating up as the draft is going to help close the rest of these drivers up to Lawrence Perriman and Bryson Scales.
Yeah, we'll see if those two Brandon Jarsacrack Racing entries can start to make some more headway towards the front end of the field. They lost a bit of time last time by to Jake Manalio and Emerson Lane. They need to get going forward. Colton Schniegenberg and Enzo De Janeiro, we know those two back in 5th and 6th have the speed to run at the front. Can they track the field front runners down? They're all, again, spread apart. A couple car lengths here. This is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and on back as De Janeiro closes up to the rear bumper of Bryson Scales. He'll be ready to make a move pretty shortly, probably coming on that long front straightaway. You can see the difference in lines there going through the horseshoe. They'll exit out of turn 14, head towards the fast right-hand, left-hand section and the double right onto the front stretch. A good exit for Bryson Scales, puts him back on the bumper of his teammate, and he'll try to lock onto Lawrence Perriman's rear bumper again and push him forward through the final couple turns. It's going to get tight this time. Let's see if anyone ducks out of line down that front straightaway. Jake Manalio and Emerson Lane continue to lead. We're going to change for third as Perriman went low. Now look at De Janeiro on the inside. The teammates are hooked up on the outside. It'll keep Perriman clear, and Scales trying to do the same. He'll swing around the outside and bring Colton Schniegenberg through. So all of a sudden, Enzo De Janeiro, I think he might have nosed into third for a second. He comes out of that turn 2 complex in 6th.
He was looking for an opportunity when Bryson Scales went past his teammate, but not able to capitalize. We'll see a dive to the inside. Colton Schniegenberg to the inside. He'll make that move. And as we look for the back section of this track, it's still the two Lando Norris karts ahead of the teammates of Enzo De Janeiro and Colton Schniegenberg as they look to make their headway back towards the front of this field. Two of the drivers with a lot of pace this week, and we'll see Colton Schniegenberg to the inside. Will he make that move stick? Side by side, exit of the corner, not quite this time.
Yeah, couldn't fully get himself clear, and now Bryson Scales looks to the inside. That's an awkward position. It opens the door for Schniegenberg to get through, and off the racetrack goes Bryson Scales out of turn 14. He goes way wide. He'll lose 3-4 spots, drops in all the way back behind Danny O'Gara in that 67, and we'll have dirt on the tires as he goes in front of Maverick White through turn number 16. So now we've lost, unfortunately, one of those two blue and yellow Lando Norris karts. The other one's about to come under fire. Big run to the inside. Colton Schniegenberg, Enzo De Janeiro, a slingshot engage move as they head down the front stretch, and they'll quickly move themselves to 3rd and 4th. Unfortunately, 3.5 seconds away from the leaders as there is the update on Bryson Scales. He falls behind Tatsumi White and the 21 of Parker Stewart. He goes from 10th up to 8th there on the RPM Nitro kart.
With a lot of fighting here for the 3rd through 7th positions, we're seeing the two leaders continue to stretch their advantage to over 3.5 seconds now. I'm sure they'll be comfortable to sit here and be happy with the front row starting position for the final if they can just survive the next 5.5 minutes plus the extra 2 laps we get for these pre-finals here as we see the fight continue on. Not much action as they start to spread out just a little bit after the heavy contact last lap. Colton Schniegenberg works his way to the front of that group, and he'll bring Enzo De Janeiro with him.
And at the end of the group, we've got some more company. Danny O'Gara was back with Tatsumi White and Parker Stewart a couple laps ago. The number 67 has latched onto the rear bumper of Asher Ferris, and Ferris looking for some help. He taps his helmet. I don't know if he'll get it here. O'Gara all over him on that MPG Kart Republic. He's up a couple spots so far. Let's see if the 67 can pick up another one. For Ferris, he's got a big run, though, coming as well on the likes of Lawrence Perriman. He'll try to take it to the inside. O'Gara on that SIK MPG. Oh, Perriman looked to close the door. O'Gara to the high side now. That'll be a tough spot, but he gets clear. Nice move for Danny O'Gara. He'll move up to 6th. Back to 7th goes Asher Ferris. And through all that, they've lost some more time. De Janeiro and Colton Schniegenberg, they're really starting to haul the mail. That time they set the fast lap of the session quicker than the race leaders by a couple hundredths. and they've pulled away significantly from this group in 5th, 6th, and 7th.
And we've seen these two have consistent speed over the last few heats. They've actually worked together really well. We've seen them around each other a lot on track this weekend already. One driver I want to mention, Asher Ferris, with the strongest run of his weekend so far. The youngster who has spent a lot of this month of May interviewing IndyCar drivers, team owners, getting a lot of press and excitement there. Good opportunities for the youngster. Having a strong run currently in P6 or 7th here as he looks to continue forward. The two in front of him, he's got Lawrence Perriman and Enzo De Janeiro. Actually, that's the 28, Lawrence Perriman, as we see the number 67 of Danny O'Gara right in front of Asher Ferris. They'll go side by side as we head into the last couple corners of this track. We'll just miss out on this battle as we look forward towards Colton Schiegenberg and Danny O'Gara as they continue their work to head towards the leaders. We can see just up ahead, almost 4 seconds of an advantage for the top two currently.
Yeah, here comes O'Gara with a run with Asher Ferris in tow. They'll freight train by Lawrence Perriman. Now move both of them up to 5th and 6th. Perriman back to 7th. For De Janeiro and Schniegenberg, they lost a tick to the leaders that time, so their progress may end at row number 2 to try and get back what they lost on the start, starting 2nd and 4th. So they're 3rd and 4th now. This group is 5th, 6th, and 7th here with 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Still no changes up front. Emerson Lane being a very loyal pusher to Jake Manolio, and I think this group as well may kind of turn out to that. O'Gara getting some help from Asher Ferris. That'll probably stabilize. And I don't know if they've got enough speed to hunt down 3rd and 4th. So we may kind of start to spread ourselves out. It gives us the opportunity to run you through the pack here for the final few moments before things really kick off with that 2 to go signal when the timer hits 0. Still 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go out of turn number 14. So O'Gara, Ferris, Perriman headed in. Here comes Ferris with a move. I stand corrected. Asher Ferris wants to get into the top 5 once again. He does. O'Gara looks back to the outside. Doesn't get by through turn 17 and 18. Asher Ferris on the number 26 or 29. The privateer goes to the front of this group of 3, and he'll go low to defend down the front straightaway.
And this is where the action is happening on the track. We've got 2 groups of 2 drivers out front of these, but this is the battle on track. Danny O'Gara to the inside. He'll go side by side with Asher Ferris. Not quite able to make that move stick, but the 28 machine, the Lando Norris car to Lawrence Perriman, will take advantage and will slip by Danny O'Gara as we head through the shark fin.
Yeah, so that'll change that spot once again. 5th, 6th, and 7th shuffling around for the 3 of them. They've still got a big cushion out back. Let's go back to 8th place and give a little bit of a spotlight. How about Cade Wolf? We talked about him on the starting grid. The number 54 Timmy Tech Comp Kart rolled off dead last. 24th, he's up to 8th and digging for more, and he definitely looks like that engine change is coming to good use and helping him march up the field. Cade Wolf has picked off now here 16 spots on this racetrack, and he is looking to try and get some more. He might be able to crack the top 5 if that group of 3 continues to battle. It'll be a long shot. He's got 2 seconds up to them, but he's been running faster by about a half second to second per lap. Here's the group further back from him. There is Tatsumi White on the Magic Kart, the blue and white and orange machine. Then it's the 21 of Parker Stewart, then Bryson Scales, and then Sterling Mulata. But how about Cade Wolf on that Timmy Tech Comp Kart? It's hard enough to try and run down packs on your own at this 1.2-mile racetrack. In the full-size, higher horsepower classes, it's almost impossible to do it on these 9-horsepower MicroSwift divisions, and Cade Wolf's done a great job. As further back here, this is, I believe, Sterling Mulata on the 41 comp kart to the inside. He'll get through on Parker Stewart and take away that final spot inside the top 10. P10 for Sterling Mulata now.
And as we watch this battle continue to develop, what a drive for Cade Wolf. Some of the fastest no-toe lap times we've seen this race. An impressive drive for sure. The drive of the race in this MicroSwift pre-final. Like you said, all the way up from last place up into 8th with a lot of pace. We'll see if he can go any farther. Just over a second and a half behind his next competition in Asher Ferris. But as we continue to watch this battle, we've got 4 drivers in line. That is just behind Cade Wolf. Tatsumi White leading that group. About a kart length separating each with 10 seconds plus 2 laps remaining on this clock. We'll get the 2 to go signal next time by Xander.
Yeah, the clock will hit 0, so we'll start to work our way back on forward. Here's a look at the top 2. Jake Manolio on that blue and black number 9. Team Ferris Racing Kart Republic leads. Fellow Kart Republic Trinity Karting Group green and white colored machine of Emerson Lane. And with the 2 to go signal given, let's see if Emerson's going to pop out of line. He's going to wait, I think, a little bit before he tries to make a move. These guys, again, reset the fast time of the session, a 120.0. But like we mentioned, Cade Wolf, a 120.3, super fast that time by his lonesome. Only 3/10 off the toe laps of the leaders. He'll be starting at the moment on the outside of row 4, but I think he might get a little bit higher. 1.1 seconds back from that group of 3. Lane, late move there, looking low into turn 7. Not enough of a run to get to the inside. This is going to be a great battle all the way to the finish here for the lead and the win in the MicroSwift pre-final. Jake Manolio leads them over to the cell tower hairpin turn number 11.
Jake Manolio and Emerson Lane, your 2 fastest drivers on track currently, a 120.0 last time by. That was their fastest lap of the race so far, so they're continuing to work together, and these drivers, not only talented but smart, they know they don't need to fight. With over 4 seconds of a gap behind them, if they just sit where they are, they both start on the front row for the final later today, and what better place to start than that, Xander?
Yeah, no better place to start with nobody in front of you. Let's see them through the final 2 turns. Emerson Lane, high and then low, just kind of setting him up right now, taking some mental notes of what's the best way to find his way back to the lead. He'll have a big run, the biggest run all lap down this front stretch. He's looking low. He's got a nose inside, and we've got a change in the lead. Emerson Lane to the point through turn number 2 on the final lap. Jake Manolio back to second for the first time in a while here in this pre-final.
And he goes defensive into the shark fin here. They've kept it clean all race so far. Elbows out as we come into the last lap. They are your front row most likely if they don't crash on this last lap. However, both of them wanting to take the pole for your final later today. Emerson Lane, defensive on the inside. He'll actually get past there. Jake Manolio taking the lead as they go side by side for the majority of this track here, Xander, on the last lap.
What a great move by Jake Manolio. Lane covered off every bit, but narrowed his line, hurt his momentum. Now Manolio opens up into the cell tower, but sends it deep, and Emerson Lane can't get by. Now watch potentially for a crossover right here through the double left. No, Manolio, nice work, keeps it tight. Through turn 14, he's only got 1 to 2 passing zones left. This one right here in the corner right after. Down to the inside, Lane's going to look. Side by side, they're going to go. He's going to get clear into the left. Here they come to the final couple turns. Lane back to the point. He covers off the inside. Manolio tries to open back up for a good run. It will not be enough. Emerson Lane pulls off the pre-final win in MicroSwift. Let's go further back here as Emerson Lane wins this one. 3rd and 4th to Enzo De Janeiro and Colton Schneegenberg. 5th across the line. Who's he going to be? Lawrence Perriman gets it. Danny O'Gara 6th. Ferris 7th. And Cade Wolf gets to that pack right at the very end and ends his progress forward in 8th. What a phenomenal drive from Cade Wolf there in the number 54. Sterling Mulata ends in 9th. Tatsumi White rounds off your top 10. Stewart, Scales, Taylor, Dobelier, and Smith, your top 15. Let's go down to pit lane for some more intel from Alexander Searle and Caleb Vieska. Boys? Oh, my mistake there. We'll come back to them here in just a moment. In the meantime, let's take a look at some of the highlights from yesterday. With the OKN Stars division kicking things off for the first of the 2. Heat number 1. What a battle it was. And while we weren't able to bring it to you live, we've compiled the highlights. Let's go ahead and kick it over to them right now. Alex Stanfield and Brandon Carr, the 2 top contenders in the class back from Trackhouse Motorplex. 2 of the top 4 really led the field off to the green down to turn number 1. And then from there, things kind of started to get a little bit sketchy in the opening couple laps. You can see the field was able to mostly make it through. There were a couple drivers on the way forward, like Wes Duchek on that DR North America engine. This was problems early on. Josh Holtz way wide coming out, and he loses 4 to 5 spots there as Brandon Carr fell back a little bit on the opening lap. He was able to get around Holtz's teammate and Nick Terlecki and get himself back into 4th position. But not a good opening lap for Brandon Carr, and a terrible opening lap there halfway on for Josh Holtz as he fell all the way back behind a handful. There's Terlecki making a move on the number 58 machine. That is Miles Hewitt on the Tesoro Raceworks CRG. He was able to get himself back. And there's Wes Duchek, that black and red DR North America entry. on the Modena with the engine builder and then chassis owner to his name, Danilo Rossi, for the D and the R in the go-kart is here this weekend. They're running a whole lot better, and he's been able to make his way up a handful of spots as he got by Miles Hewitt's Tesoro Raceworks CRG. He eventually got around Nick Terlecki as well, and they continued to battle further back behind them. There's Holtz again battling with Miles Hewitt, Ryan Raffa, Aiden Fox there in the mix as well as they went through the shark fin all the way through. All this time, though, the leaders were kind of having a more tame race. Here's the change for third. Brandon Carr, after falling back from second, ends up getting back to third around his Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart teammate of Josh Campbell. But the battle was all this right up here at the front. Henry Wheeler, what a standout race it was for him in heat number one. He goes to the lead for the first time on the season, leading some laps in this OKN Stars division on his Brandon Jarzakrak Racing Lando Norris kart. And he looked really, really strong. In fact, he even pulled away a good bit in the final few laps from that Team GWR Gillard of Alex Stanfield. But Stanfield closed the gap up and was able to send it down the inside and get clear on him and retake the lead. And from there, he just had to defend the final lap around. Stanfield went low there through the scoreboard hairpin. We know these motors don't have as much bottom end oomph out of the corner, so you got to be careful when defending your spot. But it was more than enough here to go through the final lap. Just kind of ride it low, cover off those major passing zones, and with half a lap to go, he was able to do just that. Stay low to the outside for Henry Wheeler, getting a good lesson in racecraft and some notes to take as he plugged out alongside into that double left, tried to get the crossover, but Stanfield just couldn't fully get by, or couldn't open the door enough for him to get by. And from there on, it was just about the number 46. He held on through to the finish. A nice little block into the last turn, side by side, but not enough across the line. And Alex Stanfield was able to collect that Heat 1 victory. But a very impressive run and show of speed for Henry Wheeler in Heat number 1 yesterday. We've got our next pre-final on the racetrack now here from Castle Motorsports Park. And we'll go ahead and start to bring you the action for them as the warm-up lap gets completed here at the 1.2-mile Stars National Circuit. Let's take a look here for the Rock Shifter Master Field. Joe Rook, the reigning number 1 plate holder on that Vermont Kart Company Maranello, switch of brands for him in 2023, and he acclimated to it very nicely last month at the opening round of the season for the night fight at Trackhouse Motorplex. His teammate, Justin Kelly, there in that black suit and black helmet, number 686 Maranello, will join him on the front row as they get set to go. And this, again, the first of 2 standing starts you'll get to see. One of the most exciting things we get to offer in kart racing is when the shifters line up side by side, 2 by 2, nose to tail, onto the front straightaway and do a 0 to 60 mile an hour run into turn number 2. From the top 2 back, you got Scott Presti and Evan Batt on row number 2. The Crow Show, John Crow to the inside of row 3 alongside Ryan Frank. Then row 4, Lance Lane, and the top qualifier in the subcategory, the Rock Shifter Master Division, Mike Rivera on the Rivera Racing black and white GFC pulls into line to complete that 4th row of the grid. The top 10 capped off by Michael Gouache on the outside, and I believe you've got Morn Van Tok on the inside Robert Fees, in the VTM Racing Engines number 2 plate, the second vice champion in Rock Shifter Master, overall Pro Shifter Master from 2022. To the lights we go for Rock Shifter Master and Pro Master Shifter, and off the line, a great hole shot for Joe Ruck. To the inside goes Scott Presti, and we'll get single file quickly for the top 4 down to turn number 2 as there's contact there, and off the racetrack. That is a 605 of Ryan Frank, and he'll spin around in that CKR machine. And not an ideal start for the man who was on the inside of row 3. He goes 3 wide, and it's just not enough space by the exit of that corner, Simon.
Yeah, 3 wide on the exit. It's tough there to get through. We'll see him move to the inside here for the P2 position over that Ralph Schumacher kart. That is Scott Presti getting past there for second, and it'll be Justin Kelly moving his way up into the P2 spot. We'll see a bit of a lead. Joe Ruck already stretching the advantage out to several kart links, but Justin Kelly's going to be working hard to get back towards the leader.
Yeah, Justin Kelly, obviously we saw right there, did not get the start he wanted, lost out to Scott Presti with a nice jump for the Ralph Schumacher red and white machine, but it's the Vermont Kart Company Maranello's first and second here to start this one, and Joe Ruck did get an early lead, but he's kind of been reeled in already here on cold tires to start the pre-final. Here comes Justin Kelly towards the front, towards the lead, 1 lap complete. And while we take a look at the leaders here, let's see them going down to turn number 1 to the inside. Justin Kelly wants the top spot. He'll take it away as he slides it down to the inside and takes over the lead. And for Pro Master Shifters there on the racetrack. The Pro Stars watching along intently to see what the track conditions look like. It looks like a battle right now for the teammates. Joe Ruck trying to get through. Kelly drops the wheel. Here comes Ruck back to the inside. Great battle through that scoreboard hairpin. And Scott Presti tries to get through. Kelly hops the curb, and that will force him to defend in the green corner. It'll give Joe Ruck a little bit of a lead. And let's go side by side to the Pro Stars looking on. We've got AJ Myers standing with us down here on pit lane.
Thank you, Xander. Here with AJ. AJ, you were telling us before that you've been driving here for 15 plus years. Talk to us a little bit about the track evolution. It's obviously very cold out. Well, not very cold out, but it's a lot cooler than it was yesterday. So tell us about the track evolution. We know track's going to get a little bit greasier.
Yeah, this track has the unique black strips throughout all the track that as the day goes on gets stickier and stickier. You just got to know how to drive this track in a particular way, and I know how to do it, but these guys are picking it up, and I expect a battle. Got to pick it up to get to the front in the pre-final and then battle it out in the final.
Thank you, AJ. Back to you, Xander.
There we go, hearing it from AJ Myers. What he's referencing, you'll be able to see in a handful of the corners, specifically when we get to some of those higher speed 90s and a couple of the hairpins. You've got the patchwork down the center. That's not exactly what he mentions here. We'll get over to, I believe, a little more towards the backside of the racetrack, and it's a patches known as Rhino Coat. Super grippy there as we see a nice down the inside move from Scott Presti to take back second from Justin Kelly. But towards some of the, big wide swing there for Presti as Kelly wanted to look down the inside. Right up here, you'll see it kind of going into the cell tower hairpin and throughout. Some patchwork in the center apex. A little bit tough to see from that angle, but these 90-degree corners, they've got some extra bit of grip patches to seal them as the cracks and overall degradation of the surface have come down over the course of the year. The Rhino patch grip patches, they give you a lot of center corner grip. There's one right there in the center apex of turn 15, and some more throughout these 90s where there's so much load from the tires and the karts into the pavement that they're really grippy when the track is cold, Simon. You've raced here just like myself as well. When they get hot, it falls off a cliff. All of a sudden, they are more grippy than the rest of the surface. Then they become less grippy and much more slippery and, as the drivers call it, greasy on the racetrack.
Track evolution, something we're certainly going to be talking about all day. And like you said, with those black strips and the cool weather, that's what you want. You want to get onto those, use all the grip they have. But as the weather gets hotter, as we saw some of the temps yesterday up near that 90-degree range, it makes it greasy. It gets slick. You get onto those patches and you slide unnaturally almost as you try and find the grip around the track. But currently, we'll go back down to the grid. We have more interviews coming from our Pro Stars. Josh Conker down with Alexander Searle. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Here with Josh Conker. Josh, I mean, pretty solid run for you guys so far in the Maranello kart for the Master guys. Talk about the progression of the team so far this week in both shifter classes.
Yeah, it's been a really good progression this week. Vincenzo and I struggled a little early on. Joe and Justin have been pretty good out the gate. As you can see, they're P1 and P3 in Pro Stars right now. And we're running P2 and P3 and Masters there on track right now. So it's been great for the whole Vermont Kart Company, Carblos Racing Engines, Maranello team this weekend. Everybody's been working super hard and everybody's been really quick, so good to see.
Yeah, and I mean, no new tires here for the pre-final. Yesterday, a bit hot. I mean, how much did that affect your tires going to this pre-final?
For sure, it took a toll on them. Everybody's going to be struggling with tire wear for sure in the pre-final. It's going to be big. It's going to be who managed their tires the best for the first two heats and who can hang on to them for the pre-final in the long run.
Thanks, Josh. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you hear it from Josh Conker. One driver we just spoke to a moment ago, AJ Myers. He has the best advantage going into that pre-final, not getting a single lap turned in heat number one, but he's got his work cut out for him. He'll roll off from 9th on the grid. Having missed that one is a big miss of the corner for Scott Presti, and I think he might have just blown a gearbox as Presti went into the corner, and that motor did not slow back down, and I don't know if he stuck the engine right there, Simon, or what, but he just goes way wide, and I would have to imagine either too quick on the downshift or something, or he's holding his breath a little bit, maybe a cracked rib or something, but Scott Presti out of second. He's out at the cell tower.
Issues for the Ralph Schumacher driver. He was so strong to start this pre-final, strong all weekend. That's a tough break for Scott Presti as he'll fall down the order. He'll be starting in the back as we come to the final later here today. So unfortunate to see for Scott Presti out front. The two Maranello drivers starting to check out over their competition in P3 as we look to that battle. It's the 631 of John Crow and Evan Bott just behind him. It's a three-kart battle, and right behind that, Robert Fige as they go into this hairpin just after the Shark Finn, this is the best battle we have on track currently, Xander.
Well, I mean, it was a slow start for Joe Ruck, but like you said, this is the best battle because he has pulled away. His teammate Justin Kelly now gets to inherit second. Last time by, Kelly was a 10th slower. We'll see if he closes up at all. But this is third, fourth, and fifth. Like you said, great fight for that Daredevil Brewing, Harden Motorsports Group, Musgrave factory kart chassis of Evan Batt there in fourth, trying to close the gap. He's had some good speed, it showed early here in this pre-final, carving his way up. And he's all over John Crow's TB kart machine. So maybe a move down at the end of the long straightaway if he can get through the final sector nicely. This is a good run. Clips the curb there. Just needs a solid launch on that front stretch. He'll get a big toe. This will be a big run. Let's see it. Evan Batt gets to the bumper. Looks high. Looks maybe low to the inside. And third. Give it to the 604 black and blue machine. John Crow slots back into fourth, just ahead of the reigning number 2 plate holder, Robert Feige, second in the 2022 championship on that VTM Racing Engines machine. He'll look low and quickly has that door covered off by John Crow. That time by the 2 Maranello Vermont Kart Company machines, as Josh Conker said, they're rolling good. They were identical in lap time. 7/10 still the gap for the top 2 drivers. Is a 108.7 for both Joe Ruck and Justin Kelly, and the gap starting to open for them. With the pass made that time, this will affect their laps, but last time by John Crow and that whole group about 3 to 4 tenths slower than the top 2 leaders. Although look at this, Kelly closing back in, and these guys opening back up, so we might get a little bit of a late fight for the lead. Justin Kelly, let's see what lap he puts together this time. He's closed it down, I think, probably at about half a second. That might be a 2 or 3 tenth gain across the stripe. Joe Ruck in the number 1 leads the way. Kelly that time 108.6. He took off 4 tenths from the gap that time by.
And with a massive reel in on that last lap, we'll look for Justin Kelly to take the fight to Joe Ruck here out in front. They have a healthy lead over the drivers back in third, 4, and 5th. And we have a slight issue for Justin Kelly through the shark fin. He'll lose 3, 4, 5 kart links through that one turn. So all that progress made in the last lap gone in just one corner, Xander.
Yeah, just might have missed an upshift coming out of there, Simon. So that's pretty common. I mean, there is so much work these drivers have to do on the shifter machines around Newcastle Motorsports Park. You're talking 40, 50 pulls per lap, both up or down, and it's very easy to miss one of those and miss the upshift to get into a higher gear, and I think that's what happened for Justin Kelly. So all that progress, he's got to go do it again, and he was able to do it before. He's got 2 minutes left less than what he had, but he still has 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go. That should be enough time at the rate he was catching Joe Ruck to get there, and Evan Batt as well, if he makes more mistakes, is catching them both just a little bit. Lap time by a 108.6 for Evan Batt in third. He sets his personal best. He is the fastest driver on the racetrack right now. The only one close to him, Michael Gouache, back in that 6th position, who, by the way, is also hunting down Robert Feige and John Crow with that speed. So rubber banding the margins a little bit, but right now, Evan Batt and Michael Gouache. There's Gouache aboard the SRP Factory Team Maranello, back in that 6th position. He had to claw his way up the grid just a little bit, but very good lap times there for the 603.
And Michael Gouache, Robert Feige having quite a battle. That 108.6, a strong time here early in this Pro Master pre-final. Evan Batt, last time by, you said he was the fastest on track. He's 2 tenths faster than your leader, but 6 tenths faster than Justin Kelly in P2, and only a 1.5 seconds back. So with 2 minutes and change plus 2 laps remaining, it might be enough time for him to reel in that P2 kart. The 686 Maranello machine of Justin Kelly. We'll have to see how that plays out, Xander.
Here's a look at Mike Rivera. He currently leads the way right now in Rock Shifter Masters division over Bradley Danoff and Carlos Lopez, currently 7th overall, and he's running lap times only a couple of tenths off the fastest guys in Rock Masters. What about that lap, though, for the guy just up the road that we were talking about? Michael Gouache goes purple. Fastest kart on the racetrack is the man in 6th. The 6003 SRP Factory Team Maranello is hauling the mail right now, and Michael Gouache is about to crack the top 5 because he has caught up to the number 2 plate of Robert Feige, as well as that TB kart of John Crow. So hello, Michael Gouache. Let's see if he can crack into the top 5 with 1 minute and 2 laps remaining.
And this is certainly the battle to watch currently here on track as he closes in, looking for a move into the cell tower corner, not able to make it there. Let's see, that was John Crow going defensive with Robert Fiege right up behind him. That he'd made it past Michael Gouache on that last time. Michael Gouache still fastest kart on track, a half second faster than his competitors just in front of him. So he's reeling them in as they start to battle with just 45 seconds plus two laps remaining on this pre-final.
Yeah, let's see it. Michael Gouache through the final turn. Big run. Here we go down the front stretch. He'll have a good enough run to maybe challenge the VTM entry machine. Look in, turn number 2, and Robert Fiege sends it in deep enough. Keeps him at bay. So it was 3 to go as the timer will hit 0 this time. 2 laps remaining. Next time by the start-finish line stripe. He's still got time to get there. Evan Batt has got a little bit too far up the road, but a good run here could leapfrog him 1 row higher for that main event starting grid. Right now he'd be on the outside of row 3. If he gets around both of them, it would be the outside of row number 2. And we saw row 2 there. Scott Presti was able to use that launch to get himself up to second. So this is critical for these guys. Not as important to be on the inside or outside of the racetrack for the starts with that long run to turn number 1, but it definitely helps to clear the way in front of you and have one less driver lining up just 10 feet up the road.
And I'm sure John Crow is starting to feel the pressure here with 2 karts all over that rear bumper of his. He's going to look to try and hold this off with 2 laps remaining, but John Crow way out in front of this group. It's Robert Fiege and Michael Gouache trying to get up to him now.
Yeah, 2 to go given that time. Look at John Crow. He's going to have pressure. Here comes Robert Fiege to the bumper to turn 2. Crow covers it off low and keeps him at bay for the moment. Over to the shark fin once again. So no changes yet. 4th, 5th, and 6th. Mike Rivera still 7th overall. That blue number plate there on the left side, that denotes that he is a Rock Master driver versus the Pro Masters that we have on the racetrack in red with that slightly faster KZ engine formula versus the Rock Spec engine, a little bit cheaper and a little bit lighter on power. Brad Danoff 2nd in class, Carlos Lopez 3rd in class, Lance Lane 8th overall, 7th in the Rock Pro Master division. And then on down, problems for Scott Presti. We obviously saw problems as well, unfortunately, for AJ Naud, who was competitive at both the Super Nationals a few months back in November at Las Vegas and was a solid driver at Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville. He's also going to suffer a DNF here in this one. But up front, it's all been about Joe Ruck from about lap 4 on. He's put a consistent race together. It was a slow start. He's now started to slowly edge that gap back away from Justin Kelly while Evan Batt continues to charge forward. He remains the fastest of the top 3. That time was the fastest on the racetrack for the HMG factory kart in 3rd. But Joe Ruck, the number 1 plate on the Vermont Kart Company Marinello machine, and your reigning champ proving why he is the reigning champion by putting together another consistent run here this weekend. Look at this side-by-side battle here we've got. So on your screen right now is Joe Ruck there on the top left. Bottom right corner, that is the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th between John Crow as well as, of course, Robert Fiege and Michael Gouache. No changes there. Kelly, a little bobble that time for 2nd. Batt close. Unfortunately, the final lap, I don't think you'll see much of a change. Joe Ruck leads the 3 of them over to turn number 14, 15, 16. I think that 4th, 5th, 6th group should stay about the same as well. Through the final turn, here comes the number 1 plate. Turn 17, turn 18. Joe Ruck from the pole wins the pole for the final. He wins the pre-final in Pro Masters. 2nd to Justin Kelly, and what a charge from Evan Batt at the end. He goes half a second faster than the leaders, tracked them down to a 1.2 second gap. Crow 4th, Fiege, Gouache, Rivera, Lane, Danoff, and Carlos Lopez, your top 10 here in Pro Masters. So there we go for Pro Masters and Rock Shifter Masters. Let's go back down to pit lane for a little bit more.
Thanks, Xander. Here, Josh Campbell. Josh, double duty for this weekend, KA Stars and OKN. I'll start off with KA Stars. Solid run for you yesterday. Qualified P6. Heat 1 didn't really go your way, but you made the best of it. Heat 2, dominating victory there in the heat. Talk about your KA Stars day.
Yeah, in the first heat, we got driven over on the start, so we had problems with the gear there, which kind of limited our pace, but we didn't change anything going to the second heat, and we were flying. We were able to go 6th to 1st, which was very solid.
Yeah, and I mean, going into OKN now, consistent day for you, 2nd to 3rd. You're starting P2 right now for this race. You've been about a few tenths off of Stanfield throughout the weekend so far. Have you guys found anything overnight to maybe close that gap over?
Yeah, we changed a little something overnight. The kart definitely felt better in the morning, but Stanfield was still quite a bit quicker. But I hope just to get behind him in the race, see what he does, and learn from him.
Thanks, Josh. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you hear from Josh Campbell, just trying to learn and find a little bit more speed around this 1.2-mile Stars National Circuit at Newcastle Motorsports Park. It's a little bit overcast, a little bit chilly, but the action on track has been white hot, and we're ready to bring you some more right after this. It is time for the first of the 2 cut line races, KA Junior Pre-Final B. Who goes through to the big dance this afternoon in the main event? We'll find out next. Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park, and for the first of 2 classes that will have do or die sessions here this morning because they have oversold the total on the field. The class is capped at 60 registrations, but only 40 are allowed to start on track for the main event. That means that after the 2 rounds of heat races where the points are tallied to grid them for the pre-finals, it's a pre-final of 30 for pre-final A to set the first 30 spots, and then pre-final B, the top 10 start 31st to 40th. Everybody else, this is the end of the road on the King of the Castle weekend. So for KA Junior pre-final B, let's take you through the lineup really quickly here. Again, they need to get above the top 10 to at least slot themselves into the main event. It is Ryan Ward and Charlie Myers on the front row. Homer Heyman and Landon Cardwell, row 2. Jeremy Thomas, Kennedy Tracy, row 3. Jackson Baldus, Isabel Simpson, Will Franklin, Lucian Laser, the top 10. And Rick Davis, Lucas Crusella, and Max Weiland on the outside, looking in to try and transfer to the big show. Here we go. Green flag down at turn number 1. We're racing into the first 2 corners and around out of the lead. And oh no! Out of the lead in the pole for the 8-12 of Ryan Mort. Ryan Mort is out, and he is livid, and I can only imagine, oh, the heartbreak, Simon. Ryan Mort off and out on the side of turn number 2. They're going to try and get him back going, but without a red flag, this is the end for the pole sitter.
That is a tough break for your pole sitter coming into this LCQ. Starting in the best spot possible. All he had to do was keep 9 drivers in front of us. And another problem, the 834 machine. That's going to be your P2 starter, Homer Heyman. And not only that, the 812 machine as well.
Yeah.
That's Ryan Moore we had already covered. Those are your 2 front row sitters on this LCQ. What a tough break for those. Almost a guaranteed spot through to the main. All they had to do was stay in position, but issues coming into turn 1 and turn 2 on the start will relegate them to the end of the field here, Xander.
And just like that here now, I think that might transfer everybody into the show with 2 drivers out early. We've got a great battle for the lead, though. How about the 830 of Jeremy Thomas going at it with the 876 of Jackson Baldus? Down the front stretch here, the front 6 are all together. You've got Landon Cardwell behind Charlie Myers as a little bit of defending there from Jeremy Thomas. Then you've got Kennedy Tracy in 7th behind Isabella Simpson. Then Lucas Crucella, and then Rick Davis. And I don't know how this will work out, Simon, because we've got 9 still that have crossed the line so far, and they're all battling as if they don't know who is going to transfer. Outside of an unsportsmanlike DQ, they should be fine. No position, all time penalties. They'll outrun compared to Rick Mort and Andy Mort and Homer Heyman. But for Homer Heyman, I think he's going to get the worst of it because then it'll go back to qualifying position. And so because he was slated to start in second instead of on the pole, starting third. So Heyman started third. Ryan Mort started on the pole. It would put Ryan Mort potentially back in with Heyman having a DNF. And this is just a wild, wild way to start off pre-final B for KA Jr.
No way you could expect any of that on the start here. Obviously, chaos into turn 1 on the start. Those drivers obviously don't know who's going to make it, who's not at this point in the race, both feeling the emotions of going out early in this LCQ KA Jr. Group B pre-final. Hard racing out of the final corner, and they are racing like they aren't guaranteed a spot here currently, Xander.
Yeah, the 830 of Jeremy Thomas, he was just holding on for dear life, and he goes way off the racetrack. And around he goes over nearly into the pond, and his hands go in the air, and he's frustrated. And we've lost another one. To his knowledge, they should still be in the show. Don't get too upset just yet. I know you were trying to hang on. And at first there, it looked like kind of a little bit of a nudge and run from Charlie Myers, but he was defending through a really awkward part of the racetrack. And then from there, he was trying to kind of get in line, and it just wheel hopped him and sent him way down the embankment. So we've lost another one as out front Jackson Baldus starting to walk away. Then I believe Myers in second. Then it's looking to be Landon Cardwell in the 4th position, moving forward on that Timmy Tech comp cart. That I would think is the 809 of Will Franklin, and indeed, so Will Franklin, who started way back, is now up into 3rd.
If you're on track right now, the main goal is survive. We've seen a lot of chaos to start this pre-final here, the LCQ event. More passing going on. It's a lot of aggression, a lot of contact to start this one. The drivers obviously not aware of all the chaos happening early. If they finish, they're in. So all this contact not helping their case currently.
Yeah, and you can see the bumpers all it looks like, I think we've got a lot of pushed in bumpers as well. So there's a lot to unpack from KA Junior pre-final B, and we've still got 8 minutes plus 2 laps when that timer hits 0 left in this deal. But nonetheless, these two are the best battle on the racetrack right now. Will Franklin on the Timmy Tech comp card in the 809, and then the 851 DR North America entry of Landon Cardwell in 4th, right on his tail. They've traded that spot a couple times already. Up the road for them, Charlie Myers in the MPG Motorsport Kart Republic. And then you've got your leader, Jackson Baldus, on the 876 Tony Kart. Walking away, 2.8 seconds and counting. He was almost a full second faster than the field last time by.
Yeah, impressive start for Jackson here in that 876 machine. He'll be well clear out in front. His goal to get in more off-track action. That'll be the 809 machine of Will Franklin as they are fighting for their lives here in this pre-final LCQ.
Again, for these guys and girls, it's just a matter of a spot higher or lower from 31st to 40th in the main event. It really isn't that big of a deal, but we say that, and it's still a lot of learning. I mean, the drivers that are further back, this could be one of their first national-level events. Here's a pass coming for P4. That's Isabella Simpson. She'll make it a 2-for-1 in turn number 2. Goes into 3rd, and Isabella has got herself up even higher on that Tony Kart. So for all of them, I mean, they're not only getting their moment in the spotlight as well in this pre-final B, but they're really getting the first kind of glimpse of what it's like racing at the front of the field. And this stuff you don't always see at the front. You see a little more patience. They're used to what's an all-out battle in the midfield, in the back of the pack, where you just pass or be passed every single corner, and that's why you're seeing some of these just 110% every corner, every inch of the racetrack, as Landon Cardwell, while I was mentioning that, went back and proved me right again as he's taken over 3rd.
And Xander, this has to be the best on-track action we've seen throughout the weekend. Every lap, something new, something interesting, unexpected. The best way to describe this LCQ as it sits currently, that 851 machine on your screen, Landon Cardwell in that P3 position. Looking pretty safe right now. He's got just over a second behind Charlie Myers in the 886 in P2.
Well, let's go forward a little bit while they've situated themselves for the moment. Again, let's give a bit of love to some kids that may not have gotten to get too much of it so far this weekend. How about the kid up in second? Charlie Myers on an MPG Motorsports Kart Republic has been able to work his way through. You see that the front bumper's definitely caved in on the 886, so he's got to put in some good laps. If that bumper did get pushed in, it's caved in. It doesn't necessarily mean that the bumper dropped and automatically calls for a penalty. If it does, he's got to try and outrun it. I think it's shaking enough, though, it probably is pushed in, Simon, so he's got a multi-second penalty coming. He's got about 2 seconds to his name right now. Back to Landon Cardwell as he tries to add on more and hopefully minimize the damage of how far back he falls.
Yeah, I'm sure that 886 machine will be happy to make the show regardless of where that final starting position for the final today is. Just with that pushback, if it's a penalty, I'm sure that's not what's on his mind right now. He just wants to keep going forward and stay out of the rest of the chaos that enveloped the start of this race.
And you go from him all the way up to our race leader, Jackson Baldus, 4.7 seconds out in front aboard the Tony Kart. What a nice run for Jackson Baldus this has been. He's got the High Five Performance Tony Kart colors, was racing just a week ago under the lights at North Texas Kartway, and over there again wasn't exactly in the limelight, but right now he gets it as he leads the way in the pre-final B, and again, another lap that is nearly a full second clear of the field for Jackson Baldus. That's a big boost of confidence when he's going to come back into the scale line and look and see how long it takes for everyone else to catch back up to him when they go through post-race tech inspection to say, hey, not only am I faster than everyone that I've beaten, if I can stay on track, of course, to the end of this race, but I've also probably got enough speed to march forward in pre-final A. When you see the pre-final B drivers, it doesn't necessarily mean they're the 31st and on-back slowest on the weekend. They might have just had some bad luck through one or both of those heat races with DNFs or crashes or mechanical failures, and they might be able to march from 31st or further back up into the top 10, top 15. We've seen it done before, and we could see it again here today with Jackson Baldus as we go back to this battle here for P3.
And Isabella Simpson closing up on that 851, and Landon Cardwell just in front of her. Right behind that, the 809 of Will Franklin, the closest action on track at this moment, as there's been a lot of attrition. So to have 3 karts still running this close is quite a surprise late in this race.
Yeah, quite a surprise, no doubt. They just kind of keep staying around each other. They'll trade the lead, go away, and then kind of get hunted back down. You can see right there a little carburetor adjustment from Isabella Simpson. She's going to put that to good use. Big run to the bumper of Landon Cardwell. Not enough to get by, but she's all over him. And then right there, still looking on, is Will Franklin. And for all 3 of them, they are reeling back in Charlie Myers. They were 0.2 better last time. You can see the gaps there on your screen. 7.2 back from the lead, but only 1.3, almost 1.2 seconds away from P2. So if they could just hang on for a couple laps here, Simon, and work together, they might get even a spot higher than where they are right now.
And Isabella was playing it smart into turn 2 there, not going for a dive, looking to stay right behind Landon Cardwell as they want to move forward, try and get up to Charlie Myers, who may or may not have that pushback penalty as we saw earlier.
Yeah, through turn number 11, over to 12 and 13 here. Let's see it. Through goes the 851 with a car length gap, 2 back to Will Franklin. This time by, it'll be 2 minutes plus 2 laps, but look at that. I think Cardwell sees that they're making some headway because all of a sudden Charlie Myers is just slipping into frame at the very edge while we focus on 3rd, 4th, and 5th right here. So the kid in second's not home free from a battle towards the end of it. As long as they stay clean, again, no unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and they'll be fine. For Jeremy Thomas, again, he'll get credited with 9th, and I'm not sure, again, where the rules all stack up for not completing a full lap. My guesstimation is it would fall back to the pre-final starting lineup to get that 10th and final spot, and it would go to Ryan Mort, and heartbreak for Homer Heyman on the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic, who started 3rd. That will be the one driver bumped out of all those who started this pre-final B.
Yeah, regardless, a tough break. Neither of those front row starters going to be happy with the way that went. Isabella Simpson getting into the back of Landon Cardwell there, going to lose a spot out to Will Franklin as she goes over the inside curb of that hairpin, Xander.
Yeah, Landon Cardwell, you saw there, just locked the rear brake up, and it spun him sideways, and nowhere to go for Isabella Simpson. She does the same, locks her brakes up trying to stay off him, taps through her bumper, and it sends her to the inside, loses a spot, like you said, to Franklin, but a good recovery for Isabella. Unfortunately, that'll kind of impede the progress they were making towards Charlie Myers. With that mistake, he needed to be perfect, Landon Cardwell, that is, to hunt him down. Now he's just got to be good enough here to keep Will Franklin away. This time by, they will not have enough time, I don't believe, for another lap, so it'll basically be 3 laps to go. And, yeah, the counter even shorter now as it updates, 20 seconds plus 2 laps. So Jackson Baldus, 8 laps, looking to be a 10-lap pre-final for him, and a nice run for the 876. That lead is up to 6.8 seconds, as you can see on the far side of your screen. Charlie Myers here in second. There's Landon Cardwell third. Franklin fourth. Simpson fifth. Kennedy Tracy on the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic in sixth. And as we go back, cool story again for Kennedy Tracy, one of the many drivers that's utilized the open fender platform. And she on her own raised over $15,000 to go racing here this year and compete in the Stars Championship Series. Just one back here from Isabella Simpson will find the 866 of Kennedy Tracy just coming through. There she is with a bright white helmet on the MPG Motorsports machine. So cool story for her, young driver, and getting her first full national calendar season, all self-funded, went out and got the sponsorship money herself, and she's going to get herself some airtime and as well a ticket into the main event right now, currently in that 6th position. Lucas Grucella back in the 7th spot, about 20 seconds further away. And then, of course, there's Rick Davis and then Jeremy Thomas with the DNF. Rick Davis and Lucas Grucella, they've been actually running together most of this session. The white Beer-Allard of Lucas Grucella, I believe, in the 899. And then there is the 802 of Rick Davis on the OTK. So cool for both of them as well to be able to get a slot into the main event. But let's go back all the way to the leader. Jackson Baldus, a 1:16.342 for the number 876 as he heads into turn number 6. A 7.6 margin, and it will get even bigger at the rate that he's going with a lap and a half to go.
And he certainly walked away from this field here. Like you said, that 7.6 margin, huge. All he needs to do is coast to the end of this point, and he will win your KA Junior Pre-Final B here with all the action we've seen so far. In both the front row, not even making it to turn 1. It's taken us all the way to the end of this race just to get the action to settle down a little bit. It's been chaos, it's been wild, and it's been full of excitement all the way through, Xander.
It has been nothing short of chaos and full of excitement for sure, Simon, but at least it's not been too crazy for this kid, Jackson Baldus. He'll come across the line this time, white flag to wave for the High Five Performance livery Tony Kart on his own here this week and doing a great job with another lap in the books, another fast time on lap number 10, a 1:16.321. 1 lap to go for Jackson Baldus as he continues to go faster. Charlie Myers, a good lap as well. Landon Cardwell, Will Franklin, all clocking in the high 116s, 117 flats. It's about 6 to 8 tenths slower than your race leader as he exits the shark fin. And then on back, they're just now getting out of turn 2 and into turn number 3. 8 seconds, the margin of the lead for Jackson Baldus as he'll climb the hill for the final time.
And just behind that, it's 8 seconds back to P2, like you said, but only a second back from there. From P2 to P3, Landon Cardwell just a tenth faster than Charlie Meyer last time by. Will Franklin still holding on there in the P4 position, so everything seeming to have settled out by the end. We're on this last white flag lap, and Jackson Baldus cruising his way through to a pre-final victory.
Yeah, he'll exit turn 14. 4 corners to go for Jackson Baldus, hopping in the seat. He knows it. He'll be excited to have made it through every bit of this one, from a chaotic crash in turn 2 on the opening lap for the pole man in third, and all kinds of racing and crashing behind him. Jackson Baldus survives pre-final B to take the win by over 8 seconds, maybe 9, at a new fast time on lap number 11, a 1:16.271. There goes Charlie Myers across the line. Landon Cardwell third. At the line, a late move. Will Franklin almost loses that 4th spot to Isabella Simpson. She hunted him down from ways back. Kennedy Tracy will round off in 6th. Rick Davis in 7th. Lucas Grucella in 8th. Jeremy Thomas in 9th. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, it is time for the top half of the KA Junior Grid. Pre-Final A coming your way to set the grid for 1st through 30th.
Welcome to Ohio Kart Parts, the Midwest's largest Burrell Art racing go-kart dealer. We carry Burrell Art, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, and Robert Kubica branded go-karts, as well as parts from names you trust. Chassis components from Freeline, engines from Miami, Briggs & Stratton, and soon-to-be Tillotson, electronics from AIM Technologies, MG Tires, Taika Axles, seating from Tillett, Arai Helmets, and 3/10 Race Products. Visit us online at www.ohiokartparts.com, at our facility in Lorain, Ohio, or at the local track on race weekends. If we don't have it, call us at 440-628-KART. That's 5278. And we will do what we can to help you out.
And welcome back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park for round 2 of the Stars Championship Series here at King of the Castle. We'll bring it down to pit lane before we get started with our KA Junior Group A pre-final. We've got Caleb Vieska down with Alex Stanfield. Caleb, what do you got?
Chuck, tell us a little bit about the track evolution. I mean, we know it's a lot cooler out today. You were saying that track's getting faster, so how does it feel? You went fast in warm-up.
Yeah, the track actually feels really good. It was the fastest time of the whole weekend, I think. And yeah, we're getting everything pretty dialed in for the pre-final. Starting first, so yeah, we're just trying little things, and we should be good.
All right, and you've also been saying a lot about the tire degradation, how the tires were degrading a lot yesterday since it was so hot, but it's a lot cooler out, so that's obviously going to help the tires out today. So what's your plan going into the finals with the tires?
Yeah, luckily I had a bit of a gap in heat too, so I was just kind of saving the tires, of course. And yeah, luckily we'll have new tires for the final. That always helps. And yeah, we should be good.
Thank you, Alex. Back.
And good to hear from Alex Stanfield here, one of our OKN Stars drivers. Been fast all week, and we'll see what he can do as their pre-final comes up at the end of the scheduled pre-finals. Up next, KA Junior Group A. We saw a wild and chaotic LCQ with both the front row getting taken out before they even made it to turn 1. So what's going to happen in this 30 kart field heading out onto track now for KA Junior Group A? In a second, we're going to walk you through the starting lineup as we get set to roll. Drivers headed out on track and start warming up their tires, getting set for this pre-final. Starting in the back, Indy Anderson riding shotgun on the field to his inside, Keelan Turney. Into row 14, Sam Schneck and Roman McCurdy. In front of that, Sebastian Rist, Davin Roberts. 24th will be Massimino Sunsuri and Ben Gaunt to his inside. Nathan Dupuis in that 22nd position, and Nathan Holy to his inside in 21st. Row number 10 will be Mason Kuhn and Race Beckman. Ahead of that, Cole Wilson, Cash Perkins, Sam Tutwiler, and CJ Bowman will make up the 16th and 15th spots. Ahead of that, Jackson Deal and Cade Jager. As we move forward, Ayrton Grimm and Jackson Wolney will be 12th and 11th. Row number 5, Benham Abernathy and Ethan Tovo. Caleb Tarter and Isaac Malkua make up row number 4. Wesley Gunler on the outside of row number 3 to his inside, Ben Hernandez. Austin Olds starting in 4th, Luke Powers in 3rd, and moving on to your front row outside, John Antonino starting in P number 2 and leading your field to the green flag on the pole position. Mason Walters in that number 816 machine as they get ready, start forming up. They've done warming their tires almost as they will get ready to head towards the tram lines and bring us to this green flag. Xander Clements getting ready to take us through this race.
Let's get to it here. It was a high bar set for action when it came to the KA Junior Pre-Final B. Now all these kids know they're locked into the main event. How will they race each other? How will they treat each other? Mason Walters, it takes them down to turn number 2, and they're 2 wide, looking to go maybe 3 further back. A big dive down the inside from one of those Lando Norris karts, and we're going to send a couple off. The off-pole kid, John Antonino Jr., way wide on that Tesoro Raceworks CRG. He'll lose about 10 or 15 spots as they fight for second. That is Luke Powers versus Isaac Malkett. Malkett takes the spot, and they're going to still go side by side down into turn number 6. A big lead already for Mason Walters, and another one way off the racetrack. That, I believe, is Jackson Wolney in the 873, and he's still trying to find a place back onto the circuit. Hate to see it for Jackson Wolney. No, that might have been, I think Jackson Wolney might have been Ethan Tovo, but it looked like Jackson Wolney there on the 873. That indeed Ethan Tovo. My mistake. Ethan Tovo rolled off 9th, knocked way off the side of the racetrack coming out of turn 6. He'll drop down the order. There's Wolney on your screen in the 896. So my mistake for Jackson Wolney fans back home. Rolled off 11th. He's up quite a bit. Here's your leaders coming through the final couple turns. It is Mason Walters on the Brandon Jarosakrak Racing Lando Norris kart. Then Isaac Malkett. Then you got Luke Powers and a little gap out back as they cycle across the line.
And a driver losing out a couple of spots on that opening lap. Austin Olds will drop back 1. He's in that second group now. You've got your top 3 and a solid group behind that. The top 3 nose to tail. Inside, Austin Olds will make that move into the 4th position. He'll take 2 more karts with him. We'll pass that 808 machine of Ben Hernandez as they head towards the shark fin.
Yeah, there we go on through. So Ethan Tovo crosses the line all the way down in 30th. He fell completely to the back of the field. John Antonino Jr. on that Tesoro Raceworks CRG, as there's a little contact there. That is between teammates, actually, I think, or close to it. CJ Bowman, Wesley Gunler kind of going at it a little bit through turn number 6. But up front, here's your top 3 headed into the cell tower. Luke Powers right pushing Isaac Malkett forward. Malkett there on that looks to be a Gillard chassis he's got for the 875 as the privateer calls Newcastle Motorsports Park his home racetrack, and he'd love to get a win in front of friends and family here. Little sizzle, number 875, P2, 2 car lengths back from Mason Walters. The update on Antonino from where he crossed across the line, he was back in 20th, so we'll keep you posted on the kid who started second on that Tesoro Raceworks black and orange CRG, how far up the order he can go with 10 minutes and some change remaining. 2 laps in the books now as Mason Walters leads them down to turn number 2.
Luke Powers, the fastest kart on track last time by. We saw him make an aggressive move on the opening lap, trying to take over that P2 position, ultimately loses out, but still the top 3 nose to tail and farther behind. Quite a line forming with Austin Olds leading that group through the shark fin. They are going to try and make up some ground. It's now 3 karts in that second group. Austin Olds, Jackson Wolney, and Wesley Gunler trying to move forward towards these top drivers. Mason Walters leads Isaac Malkett and Luke Powers. They head towards the cell tower turn here, Xander.
Here they come out of turn number 6 and 7 and 8. Now over to 9, 10, and 11. Malkett going to look maybe to lose that spot as Walters wants the lead back. He'll bring Powers through as Malkett kind of got a little bobbled up trying to get in line, had to get out of the throttle again and loses the second position. So Mason Walters in the 816 leads the way once again. Luke Powers kind of points forward, says, hey, what are we doing, guys? We've got a big lead here. We're the top 3 of us. We're all gone, and the more we fight, we're going to bring these kids further back into the mix. They're only 1.5 seconds out from that second train led by Austin Olds here on that MPG Motorsports Red and White Kart Republic. And with Malkett dropping a wheel, it'll make them even closer. In fact, they're 1.1 seconds back from the kid in third as we head down to turn number 2. So Walters, Powers, Malkett, then, of course, Olds, Wolney, and Gunler. And here's another group a little bit further back. That was Davin Roberts, Ben Hernandez, Ayrton Grimm, and kind of Cash Perkins at the end. So a lot of groups of 3 sorting out here with Ben Hernandez leading this 3-car pack. This is 7th, 8th, and 9th headed through turn number 6.
One of our more draft-heavy classes, K.A. Jr. working together with some of the other drivers, going to give you a speed advantage down these straights. That 815 machine of Davin Roberts making that move under Wesley Gunler will take over that P6 position. Luke Powers looked like one of the strongest karts on track these last few laps. He's had that pace to take it all the way to the front, making aggressive moves to start this race. He currently sits P2 right behind Luke Powers, only 0.08 of a second behind as we see them come through. That's your leaders, and Austin Olds still in frame, bringing that second group up towards the front.
Yeah, through turn number 15, 16, 17, 18. Austin Olds, Jackson Wolney, Wesley Gunler trying to make some headway. We'll get a really good, accurate reading with no passing for anyone in the top 6 of where the speed ends up. A 1:14.80 for Mason Walters, a 1:14.47 for Austin Olds. And in fact, they're changing positions up front here as Luke Powers, realizing that they're losing ground to the group behind, has gone to the lead. It may not matter at all. They're almost within that drafting window. This will complete it as Isaac Malkett gets forced through along with Walters to the point. And just like that, we've got 6 cars in the lead pack. Powers low to block. Olds, he was a Superman around the outside in Mooresville. He does it again out of turn number 6.
Austin Olds with the classic outside move. We saw him pull it off 3 times at Trackhouse Motorplex for the first round of the Stars Championship Series, and he'll do it again on the outside of the hairpin. Will take over that P3 position. Fastest kart on track last time by. He has certainly taken that group up towards the front. That fighting helped him out. He'll look to the outside of the 875 to Isaac Malkett as they head back through this back section of the track. A little bit of a lead for Mason Walters out front. Austin Olds going to want to clear Isaac quickly. We'll see him look for a move down the front straight this time.
Man, there is nothing more deflating than getting passed around the outside. I compare it in racing to getting dunked on in basketball, and Luke Powers just had it done to him by Austin Olds. And I bet Olds, if he sees Malkett defend low, will probably try that in turn 2, but he may not have to. Big push down the front stretch. Let's see what the 850 machine does. He's going to stay behind Malkett because they want to keep Mason Walters in line. That's a veteran move by the kid in third. And a pass further back, that is Wesley Gunler. Top Gun goes by on Jackson Wolney. He'll take over 5th. But Austin Olds, he'll stay behind Malkett. He wants to keep Mason Walters within striking distance. Plenty of time still left. That's the other benefit all these drivers get here at the Stars Championship Series. With that Truck Systems North America lighting system, they also get the live timer every time they cross the finish line. So they know, just like we do, there's 5 minutes and 20 seconds plus 2 laps. They can map that race out a lot better. And for a driver not having a radio, not having comms to the team to call themselves down, being able to know exactly where you are in the race, Simon, that is a huge, huge benefit here for these guys.
Certainly the amount of information available to these karting drivers far exceeds what you and I might have had in our day of karting. Plenty of information to plan out those strategies. Like you said, Austin Olds sitting in that P3 spot. He's going to push Isaac Malkett all the way up to Mason Walters out in front. Mason with some strong pace, and he's looking to try and check out on these drivers, but with the effective draft on this long straight, it's going to be near impossible.
Here comes Isaac Malkett with a big run. This time he's close enough. He's looking inside for the lead. Isaac Malkett gets through with Austin Olds to help. Walters falls back to the 3rd spot. Powers, great move. He opened up for the corner to give himself enough of a slingshot on exit. He gets 3rd, and Walters falls into 4th. That'll pull Wesley Gunler and Jackson Wolney back in. And don't look now, there's more coming to join the party. This will help. Defending for the lead, passing for 3rd and 4th. Powers going to get run to the edge of the racetrack by Wolney. Hops the curb, trying to get back clear. Here comes Davin Roberts with that white and red Ryan Perry Motorsport machine. 10 years old for Davin Roberts, and he's got himself into the mix on Jackson Wolney's bumper to the cell tower hairpin.
Davin Roberts, one of your younger drivers in this KA junior category, showing strong to open this pre-final race. We've got 2 groups of 4 currently will make up your top 8. All the fighting and action is split by several kart lengths as we see that group forming in front. Mason Walters still leading.
Oh, here comes a pass right further back. That is Luke Powers losing a spot. Ayrton Grimm on that black and blue CRP Racing Tony Kart goes by over in turn at number 15. Down the front straightaway, Malkett on the black and red. Gillard is under fire. Hello, Austin Olds looking low and to the lead on the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic. And the Superman around the outside gets a nice and easy move on the inside that time. He brought Mason Walters with him. And for the first time here today, Austin Olds leads. He's got to quickly go defensive there in the shark fin. Let's see what he does down here in the scoreboard hairpin. Turn number 6, he goes low. Walters low. Malkett wants to try the outside, but Olds closes the door. And look at Walters. They're 2x2 for the lead over to turn number 8.
And a bump and run slightly there, trying to get Austin Olds upset on the exit of the corner. It'll send him 2x2 through the later sections of this track. Is that Wesley Gunler making it through? And a kart off track. That is an OTK machine, the number 822.
Ayrton Grimm wide out of turn at number 10. And Isaac Malkett learning from Austin Olds. He went to the outside. That was able to get him to second and hold that spot. And look indeed, Wesley Gunler, what a run. Here comes Wesley Gunler to the inside for second. Olds knows he's even looking for the lead. Wesley Gunler up to P2 over to the turn 16 complex, but he left the door open. Malkett back down the inside. Now Walters is on the high side. Hang on, Mason Walters drops a tire. He'll lose 2, 3, maybe more spots as they go down the front straightaway.
Now we've got the entire top 10 in one group. It is elbows out. All these drivers fighting for these positions. See how far they can start up front in this final coming up later today. Still 2x2 into turn 2 and on the exit. It is intense. Out front, it is Austin Olds and Malkett separating themselves by several kart lengths over this intense fighting group behind.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit big there. They got lucky. Isaac Malkett showed a lot of veteran prowess in his rookie junior season to push as off the racetrack. That goes that goes Mason Walters, your former race leader on the Brandon Jorsicruck Racing LN kart. Off through the dirt, and with the pack so tight, instead of losing a couple spots from a couple laps ago, he loses about 7 or 8. He'll line up just in front of, I believe, Cash Perkins, who's all the way back in 13th. Here's a battle back up the grid. That's that blue, white, and red CRP machine of Ayrton Grimm in the yellow helmet on the outside. Davin Roberts just got back clear on the inside, and the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony kart. And all of that has opened the gap back up from about 5th and 6th up to the top 4. So a pair of a couple. Austin Olds, Isaac Malkett, Jackson Wolney, Wesley Gunler coming to the line this time for 1 minute, 20 seconds, plus 2 laps to go. No, 40 seconds remaining. So the next time by will be 2 to go, I believe.
What a strong run for Wesley Gunler, starting back near the edge of the top 10, will work his way all the way up into that P4 spot, solidifying himself as part of this top group as we see hands in the air and hand waving, exiting turn 2 for the later part of this top 10 as they continue to fight it out late in this race.
Over to turn at number 6. Jackson Wolney's putting together some really nice lap times. He picked up 1/10 of a second on the leaders, even with them pushing down the straightaways last time by. The Cosmic driver is closing in. He's bringing Wesley Gunler's Tony kart along for the ride with him, and the timer will hit 0, which means this time by 2 laps to go for the field and a change in the lead. Isaac Malkett says it's go time. He's tried to push Olds away. The job has been accomplished, at least to whittle the pack down, but it's not made it just to the 2 of them. It's made it 4. Olds knows that. He wants the lead back. Malkett rides the cushion there coming out of turn 14 and slots into 3rd.
And Austin Olds back to the lead. This top 4 group now nose to tail. They were spread out a little bit farther a lap ago, but with the fighting for the lead now, it is one solid group, bumper to bumper, as they come through the last corner and take the 2 to go. 2 laps left in this pre-final, Xander.
Just like that, Austin Olds is going to lead the train down the inside to start defensive driving. Wesley Gunler looking high. He'll try to cross over Malkett coming out of turn number 2. He'll pull alongside. Malkett will get the toe and holds on. Davin Roberts is trained. They're watching this. They want to get back into the mix. Look at Malkett, a late move. Caught Wolney off guard. He left him room, but he cost himself a lot of time. And here comes the rest of the pack as Gunler goes wide into the dirt for a second. Roberts is back in it. Grimm is back in it. Powers is there on the white suit and the red speed for Jimmy Simpson Racing, and then Mason Walters as well, trying to get back up to the front once again. It has given Austin Olds a huge lead. Malkett drives Wolney to the edge of the racetrack and way off for Ayrton Grimm out of turn number 9.
Intense racing. We've separated the leader in now a group of 6 or 7 karts fighting for the rest of the podium spots. It's intense with just a lap and a half remaining in this pre-final of K8 Junior Group A, the fastest section of your K8 Juniors as they work towards the white flag this time by.
Look at the lead. It's given Austin Olds. My goodness, he is out in front by a country mile as he nearly hangs the left rear tire off the edge of the racetrack coming through turn 17. Davin Roberts has clawed his way all the way up to second. 1.6 seconds. Austin Olds takes a look back. He sees nobody home. It's a big lead. Here comes the fight for second. Roberts low side. Malkett is there. Luke Powers, big time crossover on the Jimmy Simpson Racing red speed. Can't get there. He stays in 4th. A new driver has joined the party up in 5th. How about Caleb Tarter, although he gets shoveled wide there in the shark fin. Malkett back and forth. Luke Powers drives him to the edge of the racetrack. Powers has to send it in deep to get through, and Melkett claws his way up. That was kind of borderline right there, Simon. They've talked to the drivers. They are not a fan of the swerving or driving each other too tight when they were alongside already. Here's an update there on Wolney, and off the racetrack for Wesley Gundler. Gundler was in that third group, and he's out in the barriers.
And Wesley Gundler with a strong run in this pre-final was setting himself up to start high up for the final. That'll be a tough break. He'll have to start in the back end of this KA Junior field as we work the last lap of this race here. More fighting coming, Xander.
Cash Perkins on the BJR. Landon Norris car gets by his teammate. Jackson Wolney dropping a tire. Everybody trying to avoid the dirt. Down to the final few corners. Meanwhile, Austin Olds out of the final 2 turns. He survives the onslaught. He'll win the pole award for the main event. Austin Olds, your pre-final winner in KA Junior. And let's see the rest of them as they cross the stripe. Melkett second, Powers third, Grimm fourth, Walters rebounds to fifth. Then you go down. Problems for Davin Roberts on that final lap. I don't know what happened to the RPM Tony Kart. We saw it get really crazy, and Davin Roberts is going to fall all the way down to 23rd. Wesley Gundler with the DNF, so I'd imagine those two were the two collected in that Turn 6 incident. Davin Roberts 23rd, Wesley Gundler 27th, about to be 28th now for him. Hate to see it for two that ran inside the top 10. They'll at least, of course, thanks to the format of the Stars Championship Series, still all transfer through to the main event. It's just going to be a lot worse starting position, and it happens just like that in the blink of an eye. How about that for Austin Olds? Team MPG Motorsports has got to be fired up with that drive. Their driver 2.3 seconds out in front by the end of it all. Let's go through that full results here. Olds, Melkett, Powers, Ayrton Grimm, Mason Walters, your top 5. Then Wolney, Ben Hernandez, Cash Perkins, Caleb Tarter was the driver that just got up into 5th on that final lap into the shark fin, and he got kind of pushed wide. CJ Bowman ended up down in 10th. Then Sam Tutwiler. There's your update on John Antonino Jr. The Tesoro Raceworks CRG was 20th at the end of the opening lap after starting second. He gets back up to P12. Ethan Tovo, what a recovery. Back up to 13th. That kid was moving. Benham Abernathy, Cade Yeager, Jackson Dial, and on down the rest. And there you can see the heartbreak for Davin Roberts and Wesley Gundler there on that final lap. Drops them outside the top 20. They'll have their work cut out for them come the main event here this afternoon. I would not be surprised, Simon, if we don't see a handful of penalties for that one. That was elbows out from about lap 1 all the way to the finish, just like pre-final B. These juniors definitely wanting to make a name for themselves, and there's Davin Roberts coming into the scale line, and there is Wesley Gundler as well. Unfortunate for sure.
And as we see a chaotic race, there's nothing that we expected to top our KA Junior LCQ, but all the action in KA Junior Group A sorting itself out. Tough breaks for a few drivers and intense racing throughout the field. When we come back, Swift Stars up next. Stay with us.
Welcome to Ohio Kart Parts, the Midwest's largest Burrell Art racing go-kart dealer. We carry Burrell Art, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, and Robert Kubica brand of go-karts, as well as parts from names you trust. Chassis components from Freeline, engines from IAME, Briggs & Stratton, and soon-to-be Tillotson, electronics from AIM Technologies, MG Tires, Taika Axles, seating from Tillett, Arai Helmets, and 3/10 Race Products. Visit us online at www.ohiokartparts.com, at our facility in Lorain, Ohio, or at the local track on race weekends. If we don't have it, call us at 440-628-KART. That's 5278, and we will do what we can to help you out.
Welcome back. Newcastle Motorsports Park Stars Championship Series Round 2. King of the Castle. Here we have the Swift Stars taking to the track, starting to get their tires warmed up, taking that out lap, and they'll get set for their pre-final. We'll take you through the order here shortly.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull it on up. The mini stars have had really about 4 kids that have kind of stood head and shoulders above the rest, and a handful even more than that if you were to find it all the way down. Let's take you through from the back, though. Starting back on 21st, shotgun on the field, it'll be June Thiramulaswarmi. Then you go back to the top 20. You've got on the outside, Alex Kutcher, P20, P19, Anna McCrone. Row number 9's got Nicholas Lessiter and Ben Gleberman on the inside. Then you've got Adam Wooldridge and William Roberts on row number 8. Row 7, Grady Kronick and Jackson Tovo. Row 6, starting 12th, it'll be Tucker Tribe, and to his inside, Jaime Garcia, who was inside the top 5 for a good bit yesterday, rolls off P11. Outside edge of the top 10, Cameron Marsha rolls off on the outside of row number 5. To his inside, the New Orleans, Louisiana native on that energy cart, Tyrone Kemper Jr. Row 4, Jacob Scheible, who is always a great interview, a lovely kid, and he's got himself a good starting spot in the 121 blue and red machine. To his inside, Holden Harder on the 7th position there. Then you go further up the grid. The blacked out 157 there on row 4. In front of him, you've got Fianchi in the 153 Super Tune USA Tony Kart on the outside. To the inside, Landon Boer on the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic. The top 2 rows, it's the top 4 that have been that way all weekend long. Kai Mars on the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Gabriel Balog on the Magic Kart USA Factory Magic Kart, and a front row Trinity Karting Group lockout for the boys in green and white. It's on the outside, Travis Pettit. On the inside, the superstar wonder kid all year long, Lucas Palacio, leads them to the green, down to turn number 2, and let's see if they can all survive the opening hairpin. Way wide for Kai Mars and Travis Pettit. They'll lose a couple, but it looks like our field has survived its way over to the shark fin for the first lap.
And a clean start, the entire field 2x2 through turns 1 and 2, but they'll make it through the shark fin. Lots of side-by-side action through there as we'll get the field settled out, headed towards the hairpin for your first lap. Lucas Palacio still your leader. He and his teammate and Travis Pettit taking off out front by a couple kart lengths now as they get set to take us through the rest of the track. Actually, that's not his team. That's not Travis Pettit.
That's Balog right there on the Magic Kart. Rolled off 3rd. The outside lane fell back, but Pettit and Kai Mars, good recovery. They're up to 3rd and 4th. Travis Pettit there on the Trinity suit and the blue and green helmet. Then you got the white helmet of Kai Mars. Then you got Landon Boer in that blue suit and the red and white MPG Motorsports Kart Republic. In fact, it's KR 1, 3, 4, 5. Right at the end of it. Great start for Tyrone Kemper Jr. How about that? Up to 6th already for Tyrone, and he's on the bumper of Landon Boer looking for a way around him. And what a start for Jackson Tovo. My goodness. On the Nitro kart there on the 133. Started well outside the top 10. He's up to 7th, and he's looking to maybe go with Tyrone for 6 as we got problems further back. One of the Charles Leclerc karts has gone around. Here's that challenge for P5. Kemper Jr. and Tovo through and clear to 5th and 6th in turn number 2.
Still nose to tail as we work through a clean start to this one. Very few incidents. We saw one driver off, but the majority of the field making their way through with no major incidents as the field starts to spread out and line up nose to tail. Another category where draft is going to play a huge role, Xander.
Yeah, this one's got a big pack here from 5th on back. Tyrone Kemper Jr. getting a little bit away. Here's the pairs of 2 up front battling. Lucas Palacio has gotten away as Balog falls down to the 3rd spot. Travis Pettit up to 2nd. And looking on is Kai Mars. Now Palacio, as fast as he has been, and he has definitely helped elevate Travis Pettit and Kai Mars here this weekend and really a lot of the year as well. He's still not going to be faster, I don't think, than they are by himself if they can work together. So they're not terribly far away, about a second back from the lead. And if they can catch up to Lucas Palacio, and if they begin to battle, Tyrone Kemper Jr. and Jackson Tovo, with the rocket ship start they've had, might be able to close the gap and make it a 6-driver party up front as well. You can see them at the edge of that train, headed up the front stretch now. There is Palacio. He's got about a full second back. Now 8 tenths, now 6 tenths, now maybe 5 through turn number 2 as Balog, a loyal pusher right there, gave a big shove to Travis Pettit over to turn number 2.
Lucas Palacio early in this race trying to break that draft, trying to get away out of range of the drivers behind. But the question is, who can take the fight to these Trinity karting machines? They've been strong all week and all season, in fact, in the Swift category.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a banner year, really led by Lucas Palacio, but Travis Pettit scored his first career national podium back at Orlando in March. He's been strong. Kai Mars got a win last year in micro at the night fight at Trackhouse Motorplex. back then GoPro Motorplex in the 2022 Stars Championship Series season, and he's moved up into the MicroSwift division with a quick run towards the front of the grid. Jackson Tovo, Tyrone Kemper Jr., they're on what's no longer their rookie season anymore, a couple seasons in them for the mini class, and we've expected them to be contenders, but they're now really showing some muscle. That time by, they were the fastest two on the circuit. Tovo might even be a little better this time, having gotten around Kemper Jr. for P5, but they've got to be careful as these four get together. They might be able to pull away if they stay tucked in line, and you wouldn't be surprised to see that, especially from Travis Pettit being teammates with the race leader.
Yeah, and Palacio not able to break the draft away from his teammate behind in Travis Pettit. Gabriel Balog hanging on nicely in that 187 machine in third place as they head through the shark fin. The two teammates out front been so strong all week, and what can they do if they get hooked up? Can they leave the rest of this field? We know Lucas Palacio likes to lead every lap of every race. He does not like getting past. As soon as he does, he likes to make that move back towards the lead. He's a leader from the front. We'll see if he can take his teammate and check out on the rest of this field.
Yeah, let's see if he can get there here and just get further and further up the road. They got so much time to build that gap, plenty of time to wait. Gabriel Balog is really the wild card in that lead group situation here. He's the one that could kind of mess with them a little bit. So 7 minutes plus 20 seconds. That's a lot of time. Not a lot of laps for the MicroSwift drivers. They run at a 1:18, 1:17 second lap, or 1 minute point 17 seconds lap pace, so they're going to get only about maybe 8 to 9 laps total in the pre-final. Still a lot of track time and a lot of laps to at least build away. They only need 2 or 3 to really break the toe nicely, and they're set up for it right now here with Balog with no dancing partner. Kai Mars is faded backwards. Pettit is locked on to the rear bumper of Lucas Palacio. He'll open that margin to 4 car lengths, but has to give back some of it as we see a change for 4th. Nice move, Jackson Tovo down the inside of Kai Mars.
That separates us into 2 groups of 3 for the lead. Gabriel Balog still hanging on within draft range of your top 2. He's closed in a little bit on those long straights as we come to the hairpin in the middle section of this track. He's hanging on to those 2 Trinity karting teammates that have dominated the weekend here thus far. Yeah,
he has done just that, and that's to be expected when you look at his track record, his stats here on the year. He has just been unreal. Lucas Palacio also getting some opportunities to go over to Europe as well, compete in some of the European Championship races. I'm sure that's been a big benefit to his development, but that kid has been someone on everybody's radar for the last couple seasons because he was so young when he moved up into Mini last year. He was so young when he was running up front in Micro 2 years ago, and he's just been a superstar in the making. And as the older kids moved out, and he's still got plenty of years left at only 9 years old that he could compete, to the point he'll probably be looking at an age waiver to run junior sooner rather than later. If it weren't for the fact of his size, he'd have a much better argument because he has definitely been the kid to beat when it comes to MicroSwift competition already, and he's looking for anyone to kind of step up to him, and it may just have to be his teammates who benefit off learning the tracks and some speed and his setup throughout the weekend. They're the only ones that can hold a candle to him, at least until this week here, where Gabriel Balog, I thought for a moment, might fall away. He's caught back up here, Simon.
Yeah, he is hanging on to this lead group. Palacio with some advice to stay in that MicroSwift category, but he has moved up early, actually, and in fact has proved exactly why he belongs to be here this year, being such a strong start for the 102 machine. Lucas Palacio leading this race. He's taken 2 more drivers with him. Gabriel Balog hanging on well to the Trinity karting duo just behind them. Jackson Tovo leading Kai Mars and Tyrone Kemper Jr. as they attempt to track this group down. Heading into the back section of the track now. Lap times have been quick for the top 3, a 117.3 last time by for Lucas Palacio, only a 117.6 for Jackson Tovo. So the top 3 starting to check out a bit, and that was a move there. We'll see one of the Trinity karting group drivers get past a little bit farther back as Gabriel Balog getting onto the back of Travis Pettit. Lucas Palacio stretched it out to a couple car lengths now. As he heads down the front straight, he'll take that next lap to the inside. Gabriel Balog looking for a move on Travis Pettit. He'll complete that one, move himself up into P2, and now it is just Lucas Palacio in front of him.
Yeah, that's all that's left now for Gabriel Balog on the Factory Magic Kart as he tracks him just a car length away. And with that pass now, it still kind of keeps Jackson Tovo with a tick of hope to catch the leaders, because he runs right now about 1.4 seconds back from those two as they exit out of turn 7 and head through turn number 8. He's lost his dancing partner with Tyrone Kemper Jr. They have not been able to stay together. It's been all on the shoulders of the DNJ Intermodal Services Nitro Kart driver Jackson Tovo to try and hunt down the leading group. He's got that Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart livery on the car as well, and as they exit out of turn 14, you'll see him just at the top of the frame, and we've got a change in the lead while we were looking back. Hello, Gabriel Balog, the Canadian, leads away over to turn 15.
First time leading this race. Palacio is maybe his first time falling back outside the lead. He'll be right up the bumper of Gabriel Balog as they head past the last corner, down the long straight actually for this next lap. Just under 3 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. It'll be a 1:17.3 that time by for Gabriel Balog. A quick lap to move him up with the assistance of that draft. And we'll see just behind him, 1:33 of Jackson Tovo moving himself into the scene just at the back of that frame, Xander.
Yeah, just barely there. Let's look at lap times from last time by. Jackson Tovo, a 1:17.4. Gabriel Balog, a 1:17.3. So that would, in theory, be a 1/10 loss, but Balog was passing, so it still was a net gain. Tovo, 1 second off the lead, 0.8 off the bumper with Travis Pettit. He's just almost there. It's probably one of the most frustrating things, Simon, to know you're so close. You just need one more pass, one more bobble up front, and one more good lap for yourself, and then you're in that safety net of the toe.
But he's within range now. He should be start getting some assistance from the draft effect down these long straights. Within about a second of the karts in front, you start to feel that air come off the nose and start to pick up some straight line speed as he'll try and work his way forward towards this group in the top 3. Travis Pettit, Lucas Palacio, and Gabriel Balog, your leader with 2 minutes remaining plus 2 laps.
Yeah, through turns 17 and 18 here. Jackson Tovo closing in. Travis Pettit about 2 car lengths back from Lucas Palacio. Gabriel Balog half a car length up front. Palacio going to push him here. He's trying to just minimize the number of drivers in the pack, but they're still going to come together pretty quickly because we've got just 1:20 seconds to go. Let's go side by side down to pit lane here. I believe we've caught up with Austin Olds, if I'm not mistaken. We'll send it over to Alexander Searle and Caleb Vieska.
Thanks, Xander. Yeah, here with Austin Olds, your unofficial winner there in the KA Junior Pre-Final. What a chaotic race to watch from my end. I mean, talk to me, walk me through from your perspective in the driver's seat, how'd that race go for you?
I had a bit of a rough start, got shuffled back to around 8, just put my head down, got to the front, tried to stop them up the best I can, make them battle behind me so I can get a gap.
I mean, talk about the mindset that it takes. I mean, you're in a pack of, 10, 15 go-karts, everyone racing for the same piece of road. I mean, how do you handle all that?
The biggest thing is you can't let anyone get in your head. If they get in your head, you're done for.
All right, thanks, Austin.
Thank you.
There you go from Austin Olds, the new around the outside captain of that one, because he has made more passes on the outside, it feels like, than he has down the inside, and definitely more around the outside passes than anyone else in that junior field here up at the front. 50 seconds plus 2 laps to go, which means next time by, the double sticks will fly. Down the front stretch we go for Gabriel Balog and Palacio. Here comes a challenge for third. Jackson Tovo has arrived, and he'll take that spot away from Travis Pettit out of turn 2.
And with still 3 laps remaining in this race, he's got plenty of time to get that draft assistance, try and get himself up to Lucas Palacio. Of course, he's going to need that assistance from Travis Pettit to push him towards these front 2. Palacio still just pushing Gabriel Balog, trying to get away from the drivers in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, let's see if Travis Pettit can lock on to Jackson Tovo and close back up. Palacio doing a great job. The gap is about back where it was a moment ago for Jackson Tovo, at least, maybe 0.8 to a second. He needs them to fight for the lead. Palacio trying to wait till the last possible second to do just that as they exit turn number 11. Tyrone Kemper Jr. looking on about 2 seconds away with Kai Mars in 5th and 6th. Fianchi 7th. Scheible, Marcia, Boer in the top 10. There's a big midfield run from about 7th all the way back to about 13th at the moment. But here's that group, as you can see them all coming out of turn number 15. There's Sheed, there is Boer on the MPG machine, then Marcia's gray and black nitro kart, and then battling all the way down, holding harder down to the inside. He'll take the spot away from, I believe, Grady Kronik down the front stretch. 2 to go, though, for the lead. Balog has finally lost the top spot. Palacio's gone by. Here we go. Down to turn number 2. Balog goes to the high side. Tovo down the inside. He takes over second, and Jackson Tovo has clawed his way all the way up to almost the lead. He needs to hang on to P2. This is not going to help. Oh, a big bobble there from Gabriel Balog. He didn't get in deep enough. That half-pass attempt cost him half a second, and now Pettit goes by, and he's tapping his helmet like, what are you doing? But I think Pettit's thinking the same thing. Gabriel, you had it. We were with you, and that little hesitation just hurt him.
Yeah, Pettit's going to want to get by, not lose any time, because there were already several kart links behind your leaders. Tovo, what a drive to work his way all the way up to this top group, take over that second spot, and now he's going to go to work on Lucas Palacio. Palacio to inside to defend. Jackson Tovo up high, trying to cross him over. He's still looking for any way around Palacio. Palacio holding on strong as they head towards the final sector of this track.
Lots of checks over the shoulder for Lucas Palacio to try and see where Jackson Tovo is. He goes low to block. Tovo's going to try and go way high. Not high enough there, and at least not fast enough around the outside. Now that's going to back them back into Travis Pettit once again. Coming to the white flag, Jackson Tovo's got to be careful. Can't open the door too much or he'll get taken advantage of like he did to Balog over in turn 2 last lap, and so he knows it. He follows Palacio low. Pettit does the same to hold on to third. Into turn number 2, Balog opens up. Pettit does. Look at Kemper Jr. with that bright white bumper coming into frame. Here's Balog alongside Pettit. Side by side, he got third. Nicely done for Gabriel Balog as they exit the shark fin. Palacio the leader. It's 6 cars in the lead group now.
With as big of a lead group as we're seeing now, they're going to want to get their elbows out, try and fight towards the end of this last lap. Half a lap remaining. Lucas Palacio still your leader over Jackson Tovo. It's Gabriel Balog looking to the inside there for a second. Not going to make that move stick as we have 4 karts nose to tail. The 2 behind them still in frame, fighting hard. Palacio to the inside to defend, and Tovo going to lose out a spot there to Gabriel Balog to the inside. That's Travis Pettit going to work on Lucas Palacio here. What an exciting finish to this race, Xander.
Yeah, Balog gets back into second. Pettit drops back to third. They go side by side. Mars and Tovo back to 5th and 6th. Gabriel Balog's almost close enough, not quite, to get to Palacio. He blocks for second. I think he's just trying to hang on to that front row spot. Pettit goes high in turn 16, and it's going to open the door for Lucas Palacio to walk away with it. Out of turn 18, Palacio wins the pre-final in Mini Swift. Second to Gabriel Balog, third Travis Pettit, fourth Tyrone Kemper Jr. with a nice last lap to take advantage of the leaders battling. Fifth Kai Mars, and oh man, for Jackson Tovo, all that fighting, all that hard work goes back to 6th. Still a lot better than where he started, but unfortunately could have been as high as P1 or P2. Landon Boer ends up in 7th. He holds off a hard-charging Cameron Marcia. The 2 of them got around Fianchi late in the going. Jaime Garcia rounds off your top 10, and let's pull the rest of the results up here. We'll see where the rest of the field cycled on out. At King of the Castle for Swift Stars in the pre-final, you can see there it was the top 6 and then a long run back to a 12-second margin to find Landon Boer's group from 7th on back. That pack was about 7 or 8 deep nearly the entire race. So impressive for Boer and Marcia to end up on top of it. They both pick up a couple positions apiece. Then you got William Roberts 11th, Adam Wooldridge, Holden Harder, Grady Cronick, Tucker Tribe, Jacob Scheible, Jude Thiramolasawami, Ben Gleberman, Alex Kutcher, and Anna McCrone, your top 20 in the Swift Stars pre-final. Not a lot of calamity, but definitely some good action here in it. And when you talk about calamity, well, the only one for Nicholas was Nicholas Lessiter in this one, but we've got a lot coming up, I think, in the KA Stars B pre-final. That's right, folks. We've got the second of the 2 essential last chance races to make it into the main event coming up next. We'll set the grid for 31st through 40th off the top 10, but from there, it'll be time to go do or die. Can you make it above the cut line? It's coming your way here from Newcastle.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not only develop drivers, but also the parents and the families for just in knowledge in general in motorsports. It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com. And one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
Welcome back here to Newcastle Motorsports Park for King of the Castle, OKN Stars. It is time to figure out how they will line the top 40. Who gets to go through to the main event? Let's go to the starting lineup for pre-final B. Again, this group all fighting to get into that top 10 to try and make it through to the main event later this afternoon. It is 25 total cars. You've got back of the grid starting shotgun Paul Castle, Kyle Raymond and Michael Colbert, row 12. Row 11, Noah Fauner and Jake James. Top 20, Eric Goldstein and Cameron Estes. Row number 9, you've got Peyton Klein and Jake Phillips. Row 8, Brenna Schubert and Carter Thompson. Row 7, Michael Mastandria, Chris Harrower. Row 6, Hudson Potter and James Brassel. And then you got your top 10 that start inside the cut line. You've got Liam Kerper and Addison Iannella, Logan Mueller, Daniel Isaacs, Carson Sauter, Harbor Doss, Oliver Piatek, Tanner Bunny, Augie Sharipa, and Lavisa Landon. Pole award winner for the pre-final B as they head through turn number 2. Sharipa is going to get knocked off the wayside, and there was all kinds of carnage. Logan Mueller's involved. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars collected over in turn number 2, including the pole sitter, one of the top starters, Addison Iannella from 10th. He's out all the way to the rear. Piatek into second. Chaos, we expected it. It has happened already here in pre-final B.
And with 25 karts starting this pre-finals, a lot less margin to make it into the main later today. Those drivers most likely having incidents on the opening corner, not going to be transferring. It's only the top 10 in this race, and we'll run you through the order once we get it all sorted out. They're starting to spread out, a little bit of contact on the opening lap, but seems to have streamlined since then. Your top 2 checking out on the field currently.
Lavisa Landon and Oliver Piatek here taking them out of turn 15, over 14 through to 15. Piatek, yesterday, of course, we saw him. The one mistake kind of put him in a bad spot and just misjudged the gap. And lost him there for a minute. We'll pick up our leaders here when they come onto the front straightaway. Here comes Piatek looking for the race lead. Side by side with Lavisa Landon. Over to turn number 1. Number 2 down the inside. Wants it and will take it away on the BJR LN kart. Augie Sharipa there in the 3rd spot. Runs a little bit further back. He just got around Carson Sauter. Tanner Bunny back in 5th. Arbor Doss in 6th. Gavin Isaacs, Carter Thompson, Brenna Schubert, and on the bubble spot, Michael Mastandria in the 927. And so that'll be your update. That's right here in this group. So it's changed, actually. The 927, I think, has fallen. No, that right there, Brenna Schubert was able to get around Carter Thompson's Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Thompson now going to go out to the bubble spot as he loses that 9th position through turn number 8. So not ideal there for Carter Thompson in the 951. Here comes the 970. That is going to be Jake James. He's down in the 12th position, outside looking in, trying to get there, and might be able to get there as 2 spots up the road as that final ticket into the big main event.
And that bubble spot's going to be what we're looking at all race here. The action going to heat up around that 10th place starting spot. We'll see a move in the inside of the 911, not able to complete that one that time by. That'll be Jake Phillips trying to get to work on Jake James. Not quite, but head down the front straight. Your leader starting to spread out, just keeping it smooth. They don't want any incidents like they saw in the KA Junior pre-final Group B, so they will try and work forward, maintain their top 10 starting positions.
Pass for the transfer spot right there. Jake James was able to get by Carter Thompson. There was also a pass for second. Augusto Soto Sharipa. Augie moves himself up to P2, gets by Lavisa Landon, and starts to go to work on Oliver Piatek as they head up the hill. But here is Jake James there in the 970. So this is the bubble spot right here. You got him on the Tony Kart. The Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic of Carter Thompson was in the show. He's now on the outside looking in. The 964 Cameron Estes, he started way back in the pack. He has clawed his way up to 12th and looking for more with that black suit, that white and green Tony Kart. That is position number 12, 2 outside right now. Just behind him there, you've got the likes of Jake Phillips and Michael Colbert. Let's go down the short chute over here to turns 14, 15, 16. Hand in the air from the 951 of Carter Thompson. Not sure what we had that one for, but the pre-final B is on the racetrack. That means pre-final A is on grid. And Alexander Cyril, Caleb Fiesta, they've got a couple of the superstars in the KA Stars class looking on as Augie Sharipa leads them down to turn number 2.
All right, thanks, Xander. Here at Tristan Farber. Tristan, solid weekend for you so far, starting P7 here for the KA Stars pre-final. I mean, describe to me how your weekend's been so far and your confidence levels going to the race.
Well, we have the Western Snowplow Catalyst Construction Go-Kart lined up very well this weekend. We haven't changed the setup since Friday, but it's been pretty consistent, and I've been able to hit my marks very well.
All right, thanks, Tristan. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go from Tristan Farber. We saw him on the edge of the top 5 in both of his heat races. He's safely into the show. These drivers, not so much. We've got battles kind of further back. Here are the top 2, Augie Sharipa and Oliver Piatek. They pulled away from Lavisa Landon, the original pole sitter. She runs in the 3rd spot just ahead of Harbier Doss on that Rocketech Motorsports Kart Republic in 4th. Carson Sauter still rounds off the top 5 ahead of Tanner Bunny. And then it's Gavin Isaacs and a big group here. Brenna Schubert coming into it. There's a little look to the inside. I think that's maybe Tanner Bunny looking on the inside for the 5th position. That's a 928. No, that's Carson Sauter. So he's fallen behind the BJR LN kart of Tanner Bunny. This is 5th for Tanner Bunny, 6th for Carson Sauter, 7th is Gavin Isaacs right there, 8th on that Pride Kart KRT team suit for Team Ferris Racing is Brenna Schubert. Then you got the Pro Kart Concepts Tony Kart of Michael Mastandria, and then Jake James safely into the show. As they pass for 5th, this pushes them further back towards that bubble spot here, Simon.
These drivers need to realize all they need to do is finish this race in the current spots they sit, and they will transfer to the final. Currently, Jake James on that bubble with a 1.4 second advantage over the driver in P11, but if we see more fighting, we're going to start to see that gap close in and possibly some action towards the later stages of this race. Meanwhile, let's go side by side. We've got another interview coming up.
Thanks, guys, here at the Trinity Karting Group Kart Public Driver Finnegan Bailiff. Finn, it's been a good weekend for you up to this point, rolling off P4 here. Talk to me about how your weekend's been.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. We got the kart pretty dialed in. Just got to minimize the mistakes and see what we can do.
Yeah, and I mean, this is going to be a notoriously chaotic race. We saw in the KA Junior class. KA is going to be very similar here around Newcastle. Mindset going to the race. Talk to me.
Yeah, I just need to get a good start and get some teammates, maybe work with them, and try to push up to the front and see what we can do from there.
Thanks, Finn. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there you hear it from Finnegan Bailiff here, trying to stay as, you could tell he was trying to keep himself calm as much as he could, and he's normally a pretty laid-back guy, but seeing as chaotic as the racing was in junior, that's going to unsettle anyone's nerves, and this might do it as well. This is the bubble spot right here, 5th all the way back to 10th, and looking on in the 900, Michael Colbert in the 11th position, just at his personal best lap. He's loving this. All this battling. They're 3 wide right now, Simon, coming out of turn 6.
And that transfer spot coming up quickly, that P10 spot looming in the distance. That is Micah Colbert closing in quickly.
And there he goes.
And he's made the move to the inside. And we see a lot of fighting here, Xander.
Jake James back now on the outside looking in. Back to 11th for Jake James with 5 minutes and 2 laps to go. Colbert started deep in this one, and now he's forcing the 927 of Michael Mastandria on the Pro Kart Concepts Tony Kart to start defending for 9th. He's just trying to stay alive. The 900 knows that if he gets around him, that's 1 spot of insurance, and the 927 knows if he goes backwards, he's all of a sudden on the hot seat. 5 minutes, we're halfway in and halfway home, plus 2 laps in this pre-final. It's getting down to crunch time, and let's see what they've got on pit lane while we keep the focus on this battle for the final transfer spot into the big dance.
Thanks, guys. Here with Emery Lida. Emery, you rolled off P1 for both your heats yesterday. Fell back a little bit to 3rd and 4th. Still get solid results. What do you need for this for the pre-final here to go forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think pace-wise, we've been thereabouts with pretty much the entire field all weekend. It's just, I mean, one kart that's been a bit quicker than the rest. But all things considered, I mean, we're in a good place. Just need to be a bit better on the racecraft, a bit more aggressive, and kind of figure out when the tires come in more effectively.
Thanks, Emery. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go from Emery Lida here from on one side of the microphone to the other. He's had a very impressive weekend for his first national start of 2023. I have to say, qualifying on second overall, pole for his heat races, ran inside the top 4. He'll be a contender for sure as we go into the afternoon.
Certainly. He was quick at Trackhouse Motorplex, has continued the momentum here into Newcastle Motorsports Park as he gets ready for your KA Stars pre-final number A coming up next. Still 3.5 minutes remaining in this pre-final. We're seeing this battle in the back half of the top 10 heat up for that transfer spot.
Yeah, on through for the 927 of Michael Mastandrea. He lost the spot finally to Micah Colbert, and now this is Jake James trying to get in. Michael Mastandrea's Pro Kart Concepts, Tony Kart trying to stay alive. The group in front of them trying to take themselves out, it feels like, because they're all over each other in turn 2. Once again, look at the move. That is the 900 of Colbert. He'll pick up another spot. He gets by one more. Brenna Schubert and that bright yellow and purple machines up the road. And there's a pass for the transfer spot. Jake James back in the show as he gets back around, and now he'll lose it back as the 927 goes back by in turn number 6.
Michael Mastandrea holding on for dear life, trying to make that transfer. This is the fight for 10th and 11th on track. Only 10 drivers will transfer to your final later today, so it's do or die with 2.5 minutes plus 2 minutes remaining in this KA Stars pre-final number B.
Yeah, through the cell tower hairpin they go. That is, again, 9th and 10th. You haven't missed much up front, folks, by the way. Augie Sharipa's led all this way so far. Oliver Piatek on that BJR LN kart still second. Harbier Doss did get around Lavisa Landon for third. She's faded back to fourth. And then it's all this group from fifth on back, led by Tanner Bunny and Gavin Isaacs, and everybody 5th to 11th. So this is going to be chaos as the 2-minute signal comes out. 2 minutes and 2 laps to go. And here we go down the front straightaway. Everybody looking for help. Nobody's getting it. Here comes the 900 of Mastandrea trying to get by Brenna Schubert. Thinks better. Schubert deep on the brakes there. Really locks up for Brenna. She hangs on to it, but she'll lose a spot as the momentum gets broken. Side by side to the shark fin. Down the inside for the 900. And it looks like Micah Colbert has picked up another one. That black front bumper to Micah Colbert saw a lot more go-karts in front of him at the start. Now he's on the outside. There's side by side. That was Tanner Bunny. He gets through on Schubert. So does Michael Mastandrea, and Brenna Schubert now to the bubble spot.
I'm getting the feeling we are far from over with the action for the transfer spot in this pre-final as we see them heat up, headed towards the cell tower corner. No one making moves here, staying in line, but I'm sure that it's 5th to 11th, so that driver in the back with the gap out behind him, he's the one on the outside looking in. He'll be looking to make those moves up, try and secure himself a spot in the final later today.
So down the short chute over to turn number 15 through 16, 17, 18. Schubert now. Brenna trying to hang on. Little bobble through turn 16 as the kart bounces on through. The pack spread apart. That's not good news for her team, Ferris Racing Kart Republic, as she's just got Jake James bearing down in 11th. Here comes James with a run. Here's Schubert. She's got a run on Mastandrea as well. She's going to send it on the inside of Michael Mastandrea. And through back to 9th. Mastandrea crosses her over. Here comes Jake James trying the outside lane. Side by side of the shark fin for the final spot in the show.
And Brenna Schubert's found herself in that final transfer spot. And Jake James going to start to try and go to work on her. He's been on the outside looking in most of this race with time ticking out on this event. We'll get back to the start line. It'll be 2 laps to go to close out this pre-final.
Yeah, just close enough there to be able to show a nose, but not enough to get clear for Jake James. He knows he's got to make some moves, make something happen. Let's see where these 2 teammates are, I believe, or 2 OTK machines of Tanner Bunny and Michael Mastandrea. They don't need to fight. They can run exactly how they are with 2 to go, and they both will make it in. If they stay single file, it'll push the battling just for Schubert and the rest. There's the signal from Tanner Bunny saying, Michael, let's keep going forward. Keep pushing me. We just got to get into the big dance. We can fight once that race starts in the main event later today. But he's going a little wide, defending a little bit, and it's backed them up. Here comes Schubert. He's not going to leave Mastandrea a choice. Little hip check at him down the front straightaway. That's not good. Down to turn number 1 and 2. 2 to go. Desperation hour. Look at Mastandrea to the high side. Schubert down the low side. She'll get alongside and get clear, and Tanner Bunny to the bubble spot.
And Schubert from the transfer spot makes 2 spots up on that one straightaway. Will get herself into a safe position, but not that safe. She still has 3 drivers out back looking to try and make some moves. It's still Jake James on the outside looking in, and she goes wide outside the hairpin, Xander.
Yeah, dropped a tire. Here they come back to the inside. Bunny with a send and a half in turn number 8. He gets through. They're 3 wide. Now Mastandria back on the inside. Bunny trying to stay there. Side by side with Schubert. He has to pull in line. She gets 9th. Mastandria 8th. Jake James all the while still watching along. Again, another bobble from Schubert there. Still trying to hang on. Again, this is the fight to get in. The white flag will come out this time by, and Michael Mastandria now gets a bit of separation. Schubert 9th, Bunny 10th, James in 11th. Watching on, needing to get at least one spot. White flag in the air for Augie Sharipa and Oliver Piatek. That's the leaders down the front stretch. I think they are more than fine to finish exactly how they are. They're well out in front and continuing to put some good laps together.
The action out front, not so much, but farther back, this transfer spot heating up on the final lap. Jake James making his move to the inside. He'll look for 2. He'll go to the inside of Brendan Schubert, and he'll clean that up in a 2-for-1. He'll lose out 1 spot to Tanner Bunny there, and Brendan Schubert on the outside looking in. Kart links back now. She's in the danger zone.
Yeah, that is not the place to be on the final lap. Left the door open, thought she was safe. A big dive there from the likes of Jake James when he needed it most, and now he's got Tanner Bunny in front of him. So this is 8th and 9th. Those two are safe. The now question becomes, Bunny back around. It's still James in the 10th spot, Bunny in the 9th spot. Can Brenna Schubert get back there on this final lap? The leaders are headed on the short chute towards the front straightaway. This is the battle. 9th and 10th on your screen. They look to be safe if the race holds official. If no one in the top 10 gets penalized, we're going to see Augie Sharipa start 31st as he wins pre-final B. Oliver Piatek finishes 2nd, and the battle to make it into the show changed hands on the final lap. Jake James on the outside looking in most of this race, and through the final 2 turns, Jake James with his big dive in turn number 2 gets him that final spot. Schubert is out in 11th.
What a race. That transfer spot battle all race long from start to finish. Jake James was on the outside looking in for all but 1 lap, able to get it done on the last lap of this race. Will transfer himself in to the final later today. We'll run you through the order. Augie Sharipa coming away with your win. Oliver Piatek P2, Harbier Das P3, Lavisa Landon P4, Micah Colbert P5, Carson Sauter P6, Gavin Isaacs P7, Michael Mastandria P8, and Tanner Bunny and Jake James will be your final 2 transfer spots, Xander.
Yeah, that will do it. At least, again, great run forward for Micah Colbert. 18 spots gained to get in. Brenna Schubert picked up 5. Unfortunately, on the final few laps, just loses out, falls down to 11th. Addison Ianello recovered to the best of her ability after getting pushed wide on the start. She goes 12th. Cameron Estes 13th, Eric Goldstein 14th, Carter Thompson 15th. With all the battling we saw through that field, not to forget about the drivers that got taken out in turns 1 and 2, the likes of Logan Mueller and company collected that started inside the top 10 and thought they would just need to survive the start and then they'd be well safe. Well, they didn't survive the start, and they will have to watch the main event this afternoon from the grandstands. 2 more pre-finals still to go. These ones everyone gets to race. It's Pro Stars up next. OKN Stars to wrap up our morning.
Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park for round 2 of the Stars Championship Series. King of the Castle coming out on track. KA Stars pre-final Group A. The fastest of your KA Stars drivers taking to the track now. They'll get set for their out lap and start warming those tires and get ready for this pre-final.
Let's go ahead and we'll take you to the starting grid here, beginning back on road number 15, starting P30 after an engine change. Eli Warren on the Jimmy Simpson Racing Red Speed. Talked with his dad a little bit last night. He said, well, we've come from the back here before. He knows this track well. We can do it. To his inside, Eli Fox, who luckily just escaped calamity by having to be the 30th driver in and moves up one spot to 29th on the grid. Simon will take us through the rest of them real quick.
As we move forward, Seth Stowe in the 28th spot. Seamus McKendry in 27th. Moving forward, Ben Lyda in the 26th spot. Inside row 13 will be Lucas Zabo. Presley Whitney in 24th. Haping Zhang in 23rd. Garrett Davis 22nd. Drew James 24th. Making up row 10 will be James Overbeck and Tristan Altman. Moving on to row 9, Mason Surgener and Gio Cardone. Ahead of them, Grant Vogel and Anthony Rivera will be row 8. Sam Adrutsky and Brian Reddig, row 7. Dominic Soro and Rafe Shaw, row 6. Moving forward, inside your top 10, we have Brandon Atkins and Hunter Perry. And then row 4 will be Spencer Conrad and Tristan Farber. Emery Lyda and Josh Campbell make up row 3. Finnegan Bailiff, Emerson Reed are your second row. And to bring you around to the green on the outside of the front row, it is Dalton Haynes. And leading them the entire field to the green flag today will be Mick Gabriel in that 923 OTK machine as they get ready to take the green flag here, Xander.
If there's anything we learned from qualifying Saturday morning at this time, it was that Mick Gabriel's got a lot of good speed in the opening couple laps. Let's see if he can get away as an early start onto the power for Gabriel. Has him under pressure still at turn number 2. Look at Dalton Haynes around the outside. He'll take over the lead and shuffle Gabriel backwards. Gabriel to second. They're side by side for third. Emerson Reed gets into that spot. Fourth to Finnegan Bailiff. On the outside, Emery Lyda. He slots into 6th behind Josh Campbell's bright white and red RPM Tony Kart. Tristan Farber 7th. Conrad 8th. Atkins is 9th. Side by side with Dominic Tesoro and company. And Gabriel, quick to defend here from Emerson Reed, is going to give Dalton Haynes' Kart Republic a little bit more separation as they climb the hill for the first time over to the cell tower hairpin through the kink at turn 10. Emerson Reed on the bumper of Gabriel as he goes low again into that hairpin, and it gives an even bigger lead to the race leader.
Gabriel not quite able to get his tires fired off as quickly as Dalton Haynes. Dalton Haynes with a big gap out front behind Mick Gabriel. It is the Josh Holtz machine of Emerson Reed with a Trinity karting group of Finnegan Bailiff right behind him as they head through this final section of the track, and they'll complete their opening lap of this pre-final.
Here we go through turns 17 and 18 down the front straightaway. Let's see what the full shakeout from the opening lap was. I don't think we lost anyone major out of our top 10. Up and over the hump at turn number 1, down to turn 2. Campbell going to go by on Finnegan Bailiff. He'll take over 4th. More battles further back. That's Conrad, and I believe one more went with him on Dominic Tesoro. But what a run down through the first couple corners from quick Mick Gabriel. He picked up a lot of time. There's that group. That's Hunter Perry on the outside. Conrad on the inside, and around goes Hunter Perry. 2 360s there, a near 720 for Hunter Perry as they banked tires and hopped wheels. And 2 drivers that were just inside the top 10 are way back as the leaders are about to dance. Dalton Haynes got away early. Now he's got Mick Gabriel right back on him, and it's a 6-driver breakaway with a big gap thanks to that. Gabriel to the lead into the cell tower. Campbell looking for 3rd on Emerson Reed. Reed's going to hold that spot as he fights back on the outside lane.
And Mick Gabriel showing us the speed he's had all day yesterday, but not for long. Dalton Haynes back to the inside. He'll regain the lead of this pre-final. Emerson Reed close in tow, making a move to the inside. Not going to complete that one on Mick Gabriel. Finnegan Bailiff still in that 5th spot, and Josh Campbell looking to the outside of Emerson Reed. Your top 6 all in a line fighting closely to start this pre-final.
Yeah, lots of shuffling there. Dalton Haynes wants Mick Gabriel to push him. Gabriel wants to lead. He points forward. He says, you let me go. I'll take us away from the pack. Haynes going to let him back in line by turn 2, and Dalton Haynes will now have to concede that argument here, or really start a big-time fight up front as Josh Campbell, the driver, on the move, and now Gabriel going to get shuffled wide. Haynes had to go, I think, with Campbell so close to him. He would have stayed in line behind Mick Gabriel as Mick wanted him to. It would have really cost him. So through turn number, the red 171 hairpin, Gabriel now goes back to 5th, blocks Emery Lyda to hold that spot for now. Big bobble there from Finn Bailiff. He drops a tire coming out of the corner. And Dalton Haynes with Josh Campbell on the bumper. Let's see if Campbell wants the lead. He does. New leader, the number 26 Ryan Perry Motorsport machine, shows the way through the infield. And as they continue to sort themselves out in the opening couple laps, let's go down pit lane for some more intel from Alexander Searle and Caleb Viesca.
Xander, I'm here with Josh Concord. Josh, tire degradation has been a big talk here today. What's your plan going into this pre-final? Are you going to try to save tires, or are you just going to push? Because we know you're getting new tires for the final.
Yeah, just kind of trying to survive the pre-final here. Everybody's going to have a lot of tire deg here towards the end of the race, so just making sure we can survive and keep a good starting spot here for the final.
Thank you, Josh. Back to you, Xander.
There you go from Caleb Viesca again. Try and survive. That's what Dalton Haynes is trying to do. You saw him go off in the dirt coming out of turn 15. Simon, he's now back to that 6th spot behind Emery Lyda already.
Emery Lyda and Dalton Haynes both repping the Kart Chaser suits. I'm sure they'll be keen to work together to try and make it forward towards the top of this top 6 group that we've seen. But just behind that, off track goes the 902 machine of Tristan Farber. It's a battle just outside the top 6 as they continue to dice on the exit of the hairpin there, Xander.
Yeah, Farber's trying to go side by side. He'll get clear right behind the 924 Eyes Up Racing machine of Sam Vrutski. They run right behind it. Looks to be maybe James Overbeck. Oh, I think Brandon Adkins. Overbeck's got around him as well. But Mick Gabriel again defending here from Emery Lyda. Lyda right on the bumper at him for 4th and 5th. Haynes back in the 6th spot. Your top 3 get a little bit of a gap thanks to it. Campbell, the leader, then Emerson Reed, then Finnegan Bailiff as they head through. And we got one off. It's another one of the Pro Kart Concept machines. And I think that might be Tristan Altman, who was running 24th. And indeed, Tristan Altman holding his arm gingerly there. Hopefully he's okay. Down the front stretch we go for Emery Lyda and Dalton Haynes. They look back. There's the bright white, black and orange machine of Dominic Tesoro. And down to turn 1, this will pack everyone up again as Emerson Reed goes to the lead for the first time today.
Dalton Haynes will move ahead of Emery Lyda there as we see the top 4 all in one line, and just behind them, outside Mick Gabriel, it is Emery Lyda and Dalton Haynes. As we see Finnegan Bailiff and Josh Campbell going at it, and Mick Gabriel make a move to the inside of the hairpin on Josh Campbell. He's going to make that one stick, and Dalton Haynes is going to look for one as well. Not going to make it yet, and it is 7 karts in the top line now, Xander.
Now Dominic Tesoro trying to throw a haymaker. He does, gets by Emery Lyda. I think he brought James Overbeck with him, or Overbeck tried it. So Lyda now back to that 7th or 8th position. Meanwhile, Emerson Reed getting away from the pack as Campbell throws one back down the inside on Gabriel. Dalton Haynes is there. He's under pressure from Tesoro. Overbeck got around Lyda as well. Still early in this one. We're not yet at the halfway marker, but we're getting there towards the turn 15, 16, 17, and 18 complex. There's Spencer Conrad on that Team GWR Tony Kart on the bumper of Lyda. Brandon Adkins there on the Adkins Raceway machine. Everybody chasing Emerson Reed on through. Let's go down to the pit lane here for some more intel from our Pro Stars drivers. How about Talon Yockel here with Alexander Searle?
Xander, Talon, we talked a lot about the track evolution here today. How do you think the track's going to change from this heat race going into the final?
I believe if the temperature goes up, it's going to get a little bit slicker out there. But if we keep this overcast conditions right now, I believe we'll have a pretty good racetrack, faster times than yesterday, I believe, especially with brand new tires going into the final.
Yeah, exactly. So brand new tires going to be a big thing going into the final. So for this race, how are you thinking about the start? Are you thinking just sending it right from the start, or you want to hold back a little bit just to get to the final?
This is the last time we're going to be using these tires for the rest of the weekend before we get to the new set, so might as well push it to the max from the start. Make sure don't do anything stupid on colder tires though, but I believe we should just go full send from the start.
Sounds good. There you have it. Back to you, Xander.
Thank you, Caleb here. Let's go back to the on-track action. Dalton Haynes, Mick Gabriel still going at it, and it opened the sea for James Overbeck to kind of work his way through everybody. As Emerson Reed continues to lead the way, this group still fighting for 4th and 5th are just going further and further backwards. That's your front row right there. Emerson Reed way up the road. Haynes versus Gabriel. He drives Gabriel all the way down to the grass, and he nearly takes out a cone. And Dalton Haynes stays in the front of the pack as Gabriel now falls back. He's not happy with it. Here comes Lida. The pack is going to swarm that AEM Karting OTK driver, and then he's going to fall all the way to outside the top 10.
Dirt on those tires. It's going to take a couple of corners to get his cart back under him and get back up to speed. Dalton Haynes and Mick Gabriel, once your leaders of this race, have continued to fight throughout, and that has dropped them farther down the order up front. Emerson Reed and Finnegan Bailiff. Emerson actually with a nice gap over Finnegan, and then just back to Josh Campbell as those 2 and 3 with James Overbeck looking to try and work their way forwards towards Emerson at the front.
Yeah, so problems for Mick Gabriel. Here comes the comeback charge. He'll go down the inside on the 991. That is going to be on Big Ben Lida. He'll get through him right ahead of Brian Reddick, and then the eyes up body symmetry entry of Sam Avrutsky. Outside the top 10, he's now back at least to 12th. It looks like 12th or 11th. 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go, though. How about it for Emerson Reed? One way off there coming out of the final turn. That was Lida. Lida way off. He gets recovered. But Emerson Reed on the 988 Holtz DD Tony Kart. He got away early. He's been putting together some quick times. Unfortunately, they are tracking him back down. They were 3/10 better last time by, and they've gained a little bit more. But it may just be the 4 of them for a couple laps as Spencer Conrad and Dalton Haynes still haven't sorted it amongst themselves yet to who gets to lead that second group. Here comes Finn Bailiff, though, coming out of turn 5.
Finnegan Bailiff definitely making moves back towards Emerson Reed. Emerson, your leader, but maybe not for long as that gap continues to close. The top 4 starting to form a nose-to-tail line. Just farther back, you mentioned Spencer Conrad and Dalton Haynes. Dalton, your leader on lap 1 of this race, has not had the cleanest of starts as we have 2.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this race. We'll see Josh Campbell looking to the inside of Finnegan Bailiff. He's going to try. They still come out side by side. Finnegan's going to hold that position. It's going to let Spencer Conrad, James Overbeck come through, and Josh Campbell lose out 1 spot on that one.
How about that for the Brandon Jarchak racing driver, James Overbeck? He was up front, obviously, qualified well. And then, of course, that heartbreak in heat number 1 where the front bumper got hooked behind the right front tire at turn number 8, and he went way off the racetrack. He's been able to claw his way back through here in this pre-final. He's on the cusp of getting a front row spot, maybe getting that pole award as well. He's still got plenty of time. Let's see what he does here down to turn 2. He'll push Finnegan Bailiff all the way up to half a car length back from Emerson Reed. More battling further back here. This is just inside the top 10. Mick Gabriel is coming back. He's working his way forward as they change for second. Overbeck through, Bailiff back to 4th, and Campbell right there in the 3rd spot as Emerson Reed still with no one yet to pressure him for that race lead.
They're certainly gaining on Emerson, but those bits of battles are keeping them just outside 2 kart lengths behind your leader. Currently, we saw Emery Lida make a move to the inside of turn 2 there earlier in the lap, and Dalton Haynes is leading that second group, trying to lead the charge back towards the front, as Finnegan Bailiff dropping off just a little bit of Josh Campbell and James Overbeck as they close in on your leader, Emerson Reed, with just over a minute plus 2 laps remaining in this pre-final.
Yeah, Dalton Haynes has got that group tuned up, but he's got Mick Gabriel probably looking for maybe a little bit of give back if he can get to him before the end of this one, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does. He took a lot of curb there. You can see Mick Gabriel is going 110% right now. He was not happy with the way he got driven by Dalton Haynes a few laps prior. Spencer Conrad, little bobble right there going through the final turn. Lida's still there. Gabriel's going to get a big run up to Tristan Farber, and this is going to back everybody up as new leader, James Overbeck from way back to the point over Emerson Reed, and he brought Josh Campbell with him nearly to the point. Campbell got around him for the lead, but he couldn't do it, and now Reed going to go back to second. Emerson Reed's controlled most of this race by making timely passes to stay in the top 2 spots. He does it again here with 20 seconds to go because he knows the next time by, those double sticks to go in the air will have just 2 laps remaining.
James Overbeck leading OKN Stars race for the first time this weekend out front. That was a good charge up through the field. He's made passes throughout this race, finally getting to the point, getting around Emerson Reed and Josh Campbell right there as the top 3 go through the cell tower turn. Just behind them, it is Finnegan Bailiff and Dalton Haynes trying to close down on that lead group. It's been nose to tail this entire race, fighting throughout the field, Xander.
Yeah, Spencer Conrad there was in the middle of that shot. You can see Haynes has gotten away because they fought for 6th. So now it's Haynes and Bailiff trying to go forward. They're 4th and 5th. They are on the cusp of getting there, about a second back Spencer Conrad's group there. 6th on backwards has Emery Lida, Dominic Tesoro, Tristan Farber, and Mick Gabriel. Here we go for the lead. Reed, big run inside and clear. Emerson Reed back to the point. Campbell into 2nd. Overbeck 3rd. Haynes goes by on Bailiff. He says, all right, I want 4th, but I want you to keep pushing me to get back to the lead. We'll see if Finnegan obliges. For now, he rides, because if he passes with Dalton Haynes, all of a sudden that frenzy behind them, led by Spencer Conrad, could get up to them and send them further back down the order. They're both in safe spots right now, 4th and 5th. Conrad 6th. Here's Farber under pressure from that CRG of Dominic Tesoro. And on the bumper of them is Mick Gabriel. But here's the leaders headed into the cell tower. Emerson Reed, Josh Campbell, and James Overbeck. They're not defending yet. That's going to keep them in a safe spot. I think Overbeck might be happy there in 3rd if he can't win, because we've seen the outside lane just get absolutely decimated on a good number of these starts here, Simon.
And both LCQs, the front row, having issues heading into turn 1, so we don't know if it is, in fact, the best place to be. 3rd place seeming to get good starts throughout the day, as James Overbeck still sitting there in that 3rd place. And just outside your frame, Dalton Haynes starting to close in on your leaders. 1 lap left remaining. Finnegan Bailiff giving some assistance to Dalton, and we'll see Josh Campbell head to the point. Emerson Reed going to drop to 3rd, and James Overbeck going to take over that P2 position.
Yeah, Overbeck right there. Reed back in P3. Dalton Haynes still trying to get there. Here we go into the shark fin. Big shove from Emerson Reed to James Overbeck, trying to push him forward. Now they're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Back to the lead goes Josh Campbell. Reed with a late move to get back to 2nd. He runs Overbeck to the edge of the racetrack. He gets clear. Here comes Dalton Haynes. Here comes Finnegan Bailiff. We've got 5 together. We got more on the way through turn number 8.
And that gap, while big a lap ago, is closed quickly with all this fighting in the front. Dalton Haynes to the inside of Overbeck. He'll take Bailiff with him. Josh Campbell defending the inside. Emerson Reed's going to follow him, and Dalton Haynes up to 3rd with just a half lap remaining in this race, Xander.
Yeah, right there. He's got a shot at it. So does Emerson Reed, but it'll have to be tight here. Josh Campbell knows what he needs to do. He's got to block low. Reed points forward, says, don't worry about it. I'm happy where I'm at. Let's see if he stays with his word. He does. They go to the normal line, and out of the final couple of corners, Josh Campbell on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart scores the pre-final win in pre-final A for KA Stars. And there was some carnage out of the final 2 corners off the racetrack. Mick Gabriel from the front row, from the pole in the pre-final to going backwards to back in the top 10. He crashes out 1 corner from the checkered flag on the 923, and he'll go all the way to the rear. Oh, man, is that a heartbreaker for the AEM karting driver. There you can see the chain underneath the bumper. He popped the chain off, whether it was from contact or spinning or from the curb. Mick Gabriel ends his pre-final with a disappointing DNF. My goodness.
Caught up in all the wrong places this race. On the inside in that grass down the front straight, to losing his chain and ending up in the grass in the final corner. A tough break from Mick Gabriel, your pole sitter heading in. He'll line up at the back of this field, and he has his work cut out for him as we head into the final later today. Let's run you through the order as they sit. Josh Campbell came away with the win. Emerson Reed comes home 2nd. Dalton Haynes with the drive back to finish 3rd. Finnegan Bailiff 4th, and James Overbeck your top 5. Outside that, Tristan Farber, Spencer Conrad, Lucas Zabo, Emery Lida, and Brandon Adkins make up your top 10, Xander.
Yeah, you go further down the order, of course. We know there was a lot in the mix there at the end. The entire field felt like it tightened up. How about 15 spots up for James Overbeck? Impressive drive from 20th to get into that lead pack and even lead some laps late in the going. 17 spots up for Lucas Zabo. Big-time gains for him. How about Eli Warren? We talked about him from dead last. P30, about 18 spots up to P12 for Eli Warren. He gets to that pack at the end, right behind Dominic Tesoro. Mason Surgener 13th, Anthony Rivera, Garrett Davis, your top 15. He picks up 7. Seth Stowe picked up 10 from 28th to 18th. Ralph Shaw, then Eli Fox picked up a number. Ben Lida, and then there you see the heartbreak for the likes of Drew James, Mick Gabriel, Presley Whitney, Tristan Altman. But the biggest story we'll have to watch, Mick Gabriel, you can see it down 25 spots from the pole all the way back to 26. There's a look at Drew James off in the outfield behind the cell tower corner. Hate it for him as well. It'll be a long road on the recovery vehicle back on in. the OKN Stars, we watched the first heat race highlights earlier. Let's pull up the second heat highlights as they get set to go, along with your Pro Stars coming up here in just a moment. So we'll take you through what we've got from those first two heat races with OKN Stars. The second heat, actually, let me switch that up a little bit, Taylor. Let's take a look at that second heat race in Pro Stars, where a lot went down. Of course, they're set to go on the grid. We talked to a lot of the drivers. Well, for the Pro Stars field, AJ Myers in that first heat race earlier on in the day, unfortunately, had an issue getting off the line, and so he ends up with not only the pole, but much lighter used tires. In fact, missed that whole heat cycle from heat number 1. So they went to the lights with Tim Traeger on the outside lane, and off the jump, Myers, very tight hole shot by Traeger. He was very close on that SRP Racing factory team Marinello, and Talon Yockel right there on the factory Magic Kart got up over the rear bumper of him, but just could not get by. And AJ Myers from here, well, it was about over at that point. The multi-time Pro National Champion, you give him the lead and you give him a tire advantage, you can about kiss your chances goodbye. He started to slowly build that gap, and the focus really shifted from AJ Myers pulling away to this battle here for second, third, and fourth. You saw Tim Traeger right there, Yockel looking low on the inside, Colin Daly back there in fourth. Yockel was able to slingshot back by, then he started defending once he got into second, held onto it, and it backed them up. It allowed more drivers to close on in. You can see Vincenzo Saracino on that number 1 plate for the Vermont Kart Factory Marinello squad, closed up into the mix. So did Josh Conker, so did Gavin Bailiff on that Black Diamond Carbonado Trinity Karting Group machine. Everybody stacked up behind that number 2 plate of Talon Yockel, the current points leader after a dominant run at the night fight at Trackhouse Motorplex. But you could see Tim Traeger was looking every which way to get back around the Magic Kart. Yockel continued to defend, continued to kind of hold him up, and then as they went through the horseshoe here, still nothing. Now, finally, into the Monza, Yockel opened the door, and at the first chance, Traeger went back on by, and then coming out of turns 4 and 5, well, right here, this is where it really frustrated Yockel. Traeger saw him shove a nose down, slammed the door shut. Yockel's hand went in the air, and he faded backwards a number of spots. Daly and Saracino were able to both get through into third and fourth, and Talon Yockel, he couldn't really recover from that point with that big bobble. He ended up falling further backwards. He got back up to Vincenzo later on as Vincenzo faded off of Colin Daly and started to pressure him a little bit, but that brought Josh Conker up and into the mix, the Rockstars champion and the number 3 plate holder. And then from here, you see this move. This move initially, the officials went back and forth multiple times for review. Conker slid it in, locked the rear brakes up, and got into that side pod of Talon Yockel to get by. Both of them shook hands after, said all good racing. And for AJ Myers, he had no idea what was going on behind him. It was all clear racetrack. For Tim Traeger, this second place result, combined with his Heat 1 win, is going to put him on the pole here for the pre-final today. He said not the way he wanted to get that pole position in the pre-final. For AJ Myers, well, he's got a little tire advantage, but he's still got to roll off in ninth if he wants to see this again, the first driver to hit the checkered flag. And that did it for that Pro Stars second heat race. So there's your all caught up on the storylines. Again, not much you missed in heat number 1. Tim Traeger was able to pull away to a comfy lead, and the win is around goes Vincenzo Saracino warming up the tires. Smoked him there coming out of turn number 7, trying to warm up, and well, a little bit embarrassing and a bit of a hit to the confidence on the outlap there, Simon.
Yeah, definitely. Not what you want to see. We just got through the highlights of the action of the round 2 number heat for Pro Stars, and immediately we switch back to the screen and more action on the warm-up lap for Vincenzo as they get set to take the green. We'll roll you through the field here in a second. We'll see that pit exit issue counter rise one more as they continue to warm their tires and head around to get lined up for their standing start in the pre-final of Pro Stars.
I don't know if we count that. I mean, that wasn't pit exit there, Taylor. What do you think? He said, maybe. Maybe. What do you?
Yeah, it was close enough.
It was the outlap.
It was before the race started.
We'll count it enough here. Let's go to the end of the outlap now as Saracino goes back to get his spot in line. There's AJ Myers. He's rolling off back on road number 5. Well, let's see who starts in between him and around him. As, of course, we mentioned Tim Traeger will be on the pole here for this one. And that SRP factory team, Marinello, for the Pro Stars pre-final. Again, after a Heat 1 win and then second in Heat number 2. Tim Traeger, on the pole. Then Vincenzo Saracino on the outside. Then you've got Gavin Bailiff and Talon Yockel on row 2. Colin Daly, Josh Conker, row 3. Annie Rule, Justin White, row number 4. Then you've got A.J. Myers, actually 10th, my mistake, on the outside. To his inside will be Max Hewitt in 9th on the SRP Factory Team Maranello. Then you've got Ian Quinn, Cameron Reed, Ayrton Hernandez, and the rest of the field. Plenty more to go, but we go to the lights now. It's a Maranello lockout on the front row, and the whole shot. Give it to Tim Troger as he gets the lead down to turn number 2. Yako gets to 3rd, Bailiff 4th. Look at A.J. Myers. He's swarmed in traffic right behind Josh Conker as they go over the crest and into the shark fin for the first time. Myers gets it done on Colin Daly. He's already up into 6th. Tim Troger trying to get away early here on that SRP Factory machine.
He'll be followed closely by Vincenzo Ciracino. One thing I want to keep on is that right rear bumper of Vincenzo's kart seems to be dragging a bit. We'll have to keep an eye on that. A.J. Myers already making moves up. That'll be Josh Conker. He gets past as he works forward from that 9th place starting spot.
Yeah, let's take a look at it coming on through here. Ciracino, indeed. That bumper is very low for sure. Might be, yeah, it looks like it's just dragging the ground. It's not disconnected, but that can obviously affect the handling, Simon, when you've got something dragging, especially as the karts flex and move through the corner. It'll affect that center corner kind of grip if he's lifting that inside tire and the outside of the bumper digs into the ground and just spits him sideways.
Definitely. He'll have Talon Yackel looking to take advantage if he slips up at all as they round to complete lap 1 of the Pro Stars pre-final. It's still Tim Troger out front with a healthy lead as we look to A.J. Myers following closely behind Talon Yackel, his teammate, as he's already made up a handful of spots. He's up to the 4th place working on his teammate already, Xander.
Yeah, here he goes. Yackel going to pull over, lets him on through there through the shark fin. He knows that, again, A.J. Myers, he does still have that tire advantage. One less session, and for all these guys, they said they expected this one to be really just a matter of hanging on with a qualifying session and 2 full heat races already done on the softer MG yellow rubber that's only used in the shifter classes, that it does degrade quicker, and he's got 1 less session. So for A.J. Myers, you can see him being able to just carry a little more center corner speed, drive in a little bit deeper, and the question will be now up to 3rd with plenty of time left. Can he get to the lead? I think he can. It may be a question of more of when and not if, as Vincenzo Ciracino now becomes the next target.
Now, he's been undoubtedly the fastest kart all weekend. We already see him using all of the track limits on this opening circuit, opening 2 circuits, as he is using every bit of that tire to try and make his way up early in this pre-final. He's already onto the back of Vincenzo Ciracino, who's not too far behind Tim Troger out in 1st. That's the 239 having issues with Justin White out early in this pre-final.
Yeah, problems for Justin White as there was the change for 2nd. Myers gets by on Ciracino, but Justin White, unfortunately, on that Kartworks Racing SRP engine Maranello is done here in the pre-final. He'll go to the tail, and he'll have to start all the way back in 20th for the main event pending any penalties. But now it becomes the battle of these two. They were the closest two in qualifying out of almost anybody. 800ths the difference between Tim Troger and A.J. Myers in qualifying, and then it was half a second to the rest of the field. The field's caught up slightly, but it's still these two that appear to be the best this week. And so far this weekend, it's been Tim Troger getting the best of the 2 through the heats thanks to Myers' issues, but he got that 2nd heat race win. He's got the little bit of less laps on the tires. He's tracking him down pretty nicely right now. Last time by was nearly 8 tenths better. Let's see what the gap looks like this time as they go across the line. 2 laps at full speed, 3 laps in total completed, 8 minutes and 30 seconds left, a lot of time. Troger knows Myers is on the way. That time, 6 tenths better.
And A.J. Myers, undoubtedly one of the fastest drivers in this category all season across all different series, has had some issues, a brake failure in Orlando, a crash in St. Pete. It's taken him a while to get that first win, but he's looking for more as he's already working the back at Tim Troger as they head towards the hairpin. Troger down low to defend. A.J. will follow him, trying to get a tighter line out of the exit. He's working the rear bumper as hard as he can. Looking to the inside, he'll make that move and move A.J. Myers into the lead from 9th place, just 3 laps into this race.
Yeah, and this is, again, battle of the brands right now. Magic Kart on their new engine program, SRP Engines, the former engine partner for the Magic Kart team, now launching their own operation with the Maranello chassis. And I don't think Tim Troger really is fighting too hard here, knowing that he's just got to hold on. He'll still get an outside row starting spot. And typically that's not good for those single-speed guys, but in the gearbox classes, you get that cleaner part of the racetrack typically. So it's not a bad place to be to start on the outside of any given row, especially the front row here in Pro Stars. But I think also he probably knows there's not much he can do. A.J. Myers already starting to pull a half-second gap on him and get away. The battle now shifts the focus back to P3. Saraceno still has Yockel there, and Josh Conker was even to him that time as well. So the Vermont Kart Company Marinello versus the Magic Kart factory machine of Talon Yockel, and then Josh Conker kind of looking on. We heard from Colin Daly. He runs in 6th about how it's not been the week they wanted on that DRT North America DR card, unfortunately. He still is a little bit off the pace, P6 right now.
Well, look just farther back, Colin Daly will actually make it past Gavin Bailiff, and it's Annie Rule just behind them, and that'll be your top 8 as we look for Talon Yockel to start making gains on Vincenzo Saraceno, your reigning vice champion of the series, going to work on the reigning champion of the series, both repping the number 1 and 2 plates respectively. Talon Yockel picking up the pace, trying to get all over the back bumper of Vincenzo Saraceno as they come to close this lap.
Yeah, he's trying to close that gap up to them. Here's a good update on the lap times as the tires start to continue to fade. Myers a 107 flat, Troger a 107.2, a 107.4, 2/10 off Troger was Saraceno, 2/10 off Saraceno was Talon Yockel. So all that ground made up, lost actually a little bit of time to him that time by, and even for Josh Conker to Colin Daly, he picked up a little bit. Bailiff, of course, made that pass on Annie Rule, so we'll get a better read on where that Black Diamond Carbonado Trinity Karting Group driver currently lies in terms of speed. To me, it looks like he might be tracking down the DR North America entry, Colin Daly, a little bit, as this potential battle for 3rd and 4th still looms, but hasn't really broken up yet.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough. I mean, Talon Yockel can close up all he wants, but once you get close, not only you don't have as much draft in these Pro Stars categories with this gearbox class, you also have some aero wash, so whatever gains you make on that straightaway, it's going to be taken away in the corners. You don't have air over that front nose and fairing coming through the corners, so the closer you get, the tougher it is to make a move.
Let's go side by side down to pit lane here for a little bit, folks. Pro Stars, the pre-final, halfway in and halfway through, 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. A.J. Myers continues to lead over the Tim Troger, Vincenzo Saraceno, Talon Yockel, and Josh Conker. Alex and Caleb, what do you guys got for us down on pit lane?
Thanks, Tanner. Here with Emerson Reed. Emerson, thought you were going to walk out with the win there in the pre-final, almost got it. You know, the draft is really big here. Ultimately walked with a P2. Describe your race to me.
Well, honestly, I just tried to get out front quick and early so I wouldn't have to do all the battling like most people do. You know, it's a tough class. K is pretty hard to pull away. So, yeah, just the draft came back, and they were able to get me at the end. So,
yeah, I mean, talk about your weekend, though, as a whole. You know, broadcast being down, we haven't gotten to speak to you yesterday. Solid weekend, right? Qualified P4, put you P2 for both heats, a second and a third. What's the progress been like with your go-kart? You feel good for the final?
yeah, you know, we've been struggling a little bit with rear grip, but we were able to figure it out. Made a couple adjustments, and P2, P3 in the 2 heats, and then second in this pre-final. Yeah.
Thanks, Emerson.
There you go from Emerson Reed, veteran racer here, has been around the sport for a long time. Good to see him back and active again, and very good, just as we remember how he was coming up through the ranks in the Micro Mini and Junior days. Back then, just Mini and Junior. 4 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Not much change while we went side by side there. Troger's fallen a little further away from Myers, who has set an unmatched pace. Saraceno and Yockel, still nothing yet for third and fourth. Josh Conker about even to both of them speed-wise. Colin Daly even, Gavin Bailiff, and Annie Rule stabilized out as well. But I think third and fourth could be good. Look at this here. How about Cameron Reed under fire? That is, I believe, Ayrton Hernandez on the Leading Edge Motorsports Tony Kart. A chassis change for Ayrton Hernandez overnight. He'll pick up to 11th, and his drive forward continues. Right looking on there, as well as Ian Quinn on that comp kart for QG3 Karting, I believe. Quinn picks up a spot as well. He gets to 11th. Nicely done.
And the battle heating up here out front. There's not too much fighting. Talon not able to make up too much ground on Vincenzo as of yet, but the battle back here for the farther spots outside the top 10 is heating up. Ian Quinn, we just saw make that move past Cameron Reed, and it has been the hottest action on track for the last few laps, Xander.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun to watch here as the field comes up and over the hill to turns 1 and 2. And 2 minutes, 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. A.J. Myers still 7 laps only completed on this long racetrack, but it's been more than enough to get through from 9th to the lead and pull away by 1.6 seconds and counting over Tim Troger's SRP Factory Race Team Maranello. 2 minutes and 20 seconds as we look further back, and we'll keep an eye on if there's any other close battles we've got. You got Tegan Poles, the lone rock star driver. Tegan currently 14th, leads the way there. Here is the overall leader and your Pro Stars leader, A.J. Myers. There's Tim Troger on by. Here comes Saraceno and Yockel, 3rd, 4th. They're at the edge of the screen. You got Josh Conker. You got 1, 2, and 3, the top 3 in the championship from last year. Currently 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Let's go down trackside here for a little more. Dalton Haynes was involved in a lot of battling in that KA Stars pre-final. He's standing by with Alexander Searle and Caleb Vieska.
Xander, I'm here with Dalton. Dalton, you had a good race. You finished 3rd unofficially. It looked like you got in a bit of a scuffle with the 923 and Mick Gabriel. Just talk to me about what happened.
Yeah, like you said, I had a good race. I got shoveled at the beginning of the race, and I was pretty annoyed by that. And then I looked back and we had a big gap, so I was ready to go. Worked with people. People started battling a little bit, and then we got another gap, and I was ready to start pushing. And then the guy behind me, Mick Gabriel, he went in on me. And then I looked back, they got closer. He messed up a corner, so I went back in on him. And then down the straightaway, tried to go in on me again. And what I'm told is, when they go out on you twice, when they are just showing that they're not going to work with you, they're out. You know, they're done. Doesn't matter what the officials say, they're done. On track, they're done. So he, down the straightaway, he poked his front bumper on my rear bumper. I saw it, and I just drove him down and put him in the grass and even put him into a cone. But he needed to be off the track if he's just going to keep going in on me. I mean, it's not like personal or anything. It's just, that's just the way racing works. And I got all the way back up to 3rd by the end of the race. Ran a pretty fast lap at the end. My tires didn't come in till the very end, and I felt confident. So I got a 5-second penalty, and I don't really mind that. I'll probably start like 15th for the final, and I think I can make my way up.
Alrighty, thank you, Dalton. Back to you, Xander.
Well, there you have it. It looks spicy on the racetrack, sounds spicy from both ends here. Look at this, though. At the battle, Talon Yockel's been tracking down Vincenzo Saraceno this entire Pro Stars pre-final. He's finally gotten around him there for 3rd, Simon.
Definitely. I assure you it was probably harder at the beginning of the race. As soon as the dead comes in and the tires start to fall off, it gets a little easier to get closer. The tires start sliding around a little bit more. Talon able to take advantage of that, get himself around the reigning series champion Vincenzo Saraceno, move him up 1 spot into that 3rd place. That'll put him on the inside row for the final later today. Time is clicking out, so we'll come back to the flag stand, and it'll be 2 laps to go next time by.
2 to go at the line. Talon Yockel still 3rd. A.J. Myers, Tim Troger well out in front by over 7 seconds. You see Colin Daly just kind of getting into view. He's kind of turned the wick up the last couple laps on that DR North America factory DR kart, and he's close enough here to maybe put some pressure on Josh Conker. Maybe get an inside row starting spot on row number 3, crack the top 5. These guys are all also thinking championship. There's a lot of points up for grabs in each of the heats, and especially the pre-final leading into the main event, so every position matters. And oh no, problems for Vincenzo Saraceno, and he's banging off the steering wheel with his fist, and he is frustrated, and Vincenzo Saraceno, a mechanical failure with a lap and 3/4 to go, and the reigning champ is standing in the infield here at Newcastle, Simon.
A tough break for Vincenzo, lining himself up so well heading into the final. A 4th place starting spot would have been great, 2nd row on the outside line, but a mechanical taking him out late in this race with just 2 to go. That is a tough break for the reigning series champion in that Maranello kart. Vincenzo Saraceno going out here as we look for the battle. Josh Conker, Colin Daly all over the back of him, looking to make something happen in these last 2 laps, Xander.
Yeah, he's trying to see what he can find to maybe get around him here, especially Conker had to quickly evade Saraceno, and I think it might have thrown off his marker for that shark fin. Final lap underway for A.J. Myers well up the road. You can see even further back, Andy Rule, Michael Riccio are close there in 8th and 9th, but here comes Colin Daly. Big run, tucked his head, he's close enough. Conker knows it, he covers low side down to turn number 2.
As they come out of turn number 2, the fight rages on. Colin Daly looking for a way by on the last lap of this pre-final, move himself up 1 starting spot. It's going to take a lot of work to get by Josh Conker, the quick driver in that Maranello kart, holding on to that number P4 position as it stands. Colin Daly trying to get an exit out of the outside. He'll run side by side up the hill, not able to make it work. He'll dive to the inside, move Colin Daly ahead of Josh Conker on the last lap of this race. They're not done fighting, though. Side by side, Xander, what do you got?
Well, I mean, not only is it one more spot, now with Saraceno out, it's one entire row forward to get that 4th position. Daly defending. Conker up there. Here comes Annie Rule trying the inside. Can Annie get down alongside Conker? She does. Annie Rule into the top 5. And Daly still 4th. As they go down the short chute, the leader coming across the line. AJ Myers has crossed it. He wins the pre-final. Tim Troger 2nd. Yockel 3rd. Look at this fight all the way through. Conker let the door open. Didn't even realize Rule was there. Daly will get 4th, and Annie Rule will cross the line P5 over Josh Conker, Gavin Bailiff, Michael Riccio, Ayrton Hernandez. How about that drive from the back? He gets to 9th. Ian Quinn 10th. Cameron Reed 11th. Tegan Poles 12th, and the one Rockstar driver as well. First in the subcategory. Zach Frank 13th. Robbie Campbell 14th. David Carmody 15th. What a final lap there. Ultimate opportunist move from Annie Rule, who again showed up this weekend with 0 laps of practice, graduated high school Friday night, drove in overnight to make it in time to score championship points and qualify. We heard from her yesterday. She said she's been just slowly closing the gap to the rest of the field, and what an impressive run for Annie Rule to get up into the top 5 there late, and great run forward for Colin Daly as well. But AJ Myers uses that tire advantage to his advantage, pulls away by 2.5 seconds over Tim Troger. But when we go to that main event, Simon, it'll be a level playing field. Even everybody gets a brand new set of sticker MG Yellows.
And what a race we just saw in the pre-final. Obviously with that tire advantage, AJ taking off to the lead from 9th place there. But Annie Rule, what a drive. Driving the race to make it all the way up to that 5th position. Secure herself in an awesome starting spot for the final later today. When we come back, your other highlight class of the day for their pre-final OKN Stars up next.
Onto the racetrack now for your OKN Stars, and it's been about one driver in particular, it feels like, this weekend, and that is the Team GWR Gillard of Alex Stanfield. So while we get set for them, let's go down trackside here. We heard from one side of the story from Dalton Haynes. Obviously, the other driver was Mick Gabriel. He had a rough ending to his pre-final, but also, again, it's something that definitely sent him back from the pole. Let's send it down to pit lane.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, like you said, a rough ending to his pre-final there. I mean, really from the start, got shuffled back quite a bit. You said he had a carburetor problem. That's what caused you to fall back a few places. Had a few incidents there. Talk to me about them.
Yeah, we had a bit of a carburation issue where I just couldn't get off the bottom end at all. That was fighting back to the lead with Dalton, and then he just clearly swerved me down into damn near the flag man and basically killed my whole race after that. And then was just fighting off some squirrels after that, and got wrecked on the last lap with a guy coming down on me. So now we got to come from the back again, and really frustrating the way everybody races, but it is what it is at this point. And we got a lot of speed, especially once we fix the carburation issue, so we'll see how the final goes.
Thanks, Mick.
Thank you.
There you go. So there you hear it from the other side of that incident there. Obviously, he was displeased with the way he got driven, but at the same time, I think in his mind, already knowing that race was a little bit out the window with the carburetor issue that sent him further and further backwards. He'll have to go from the back, like he said, but he's done it before. One driver from the pointy end that won't have to come from the back is Alex Stanfield. He's on the pole. Josh Campbell's been close this weekend, trying to get there. He starts second. Henry Wheeler starts third, and we're underway down in turns 1 and 2. Everybody wiggling under the braking zone as they send it in deep on these OKN engines. And coming out of turn number 2, Wheeler into second, Campbell to third, Wes Duchek on that DRT North America DR in fourth. Brandon Carr trying to make something happen around the outside. He's trapped back in the 6th spot. That is your championship points leader headed down into turn number 6.
And Brandon Carr with an awesome start at Trackhouse Motorplex to start the first round of the Stars Championship Series. Not seeing the same kind of pace this weekend, but already Stanfield dropping back 1 spot. That is Henry Wheeler making it through, and he will lead the first opening lap of this pre-final at OKN Stars.
How about that for the Brandon Jarsacrack Racing Lando Norris kart of Henry Wheeler to the lead. Alex Stanfield still second, Dushak third, Campbell fourth as they come out of turn 14. Henry Wheeler's already led a few laps, came really close to getting the first Stars Championship Series heat race win earlier on this weekend in heat number 1 with a side-by-side run to the line against Stanfield. Now he leads his first laps of the pre-final, the first lap of the pre-final in the number 18. Stanfield, in fact, he's under pressure. How about Wes Duchek on that DRT North America factory DR kart? He's on the bumper, looking inside turn number 2, and he locks up, gets real sideways, but a good save, and Duchek moves up into second.
Duchek with his best run of the weekend so far, seeing some great speed out of that DR kart. He's going to slot himself into second behind Henry Wheeler. Alex Stanfield just behind him. We saw a great battle in Heat 2 yesterday. Alex Stanfield to the inside. He'll retake that second spot from Wes Duchek. Josh Campbell looming just behind in fourth. The top 4 starting to break away a little bit from the rest of the pack here, Xander.
Duchek looking good on that factory DR kart and that factory Modena engine as he's in a sea of TMs. He'll now fall back to fourth with Campbell going by. It's TM power for Henry Wheeler, Alex Stanfield, and Josh Campbell. It is Modena engines power for the DR kart of Wes Duchek right in the mix. But Henry Wheeler not pulling away just yet. He's been able to get through to the lead, and even with them battling for second and third, Stanfield is still right there as we come to the end of lap number 2 this time by. 10 minutes plus 20 seconds left to go here in this one. Further back, Brandon Carr did get his way up into that 5th spot, was able to get around Aiden Fox. So was Nicholas Terlecki. Terlecki, keep in mind, has been one of the faster drivers this week. It's just not been a good start, really, it feels like, for him. Starting kind of on the mid to outside lane half the time, if not most of the time. And for Nicholas Terlecki on that Hotes TD Tony kart, I think he's got some good underrated speed as well. He was almost as fast as Carr that time by, and just a couple ticks off the leaders who are about to fight for the lead, I think. Alex Stanfield's right there on Henry Wheeler through turn number 6.
Yeah, Alex Stanfield showing some great pace out of that second lap. He's going to go to the inside, move him up to the lead ahead of Henry Wheeler. Alex Stanfield back to the lead in the OKN Stars pre-final.
So Alex Stanfield and that team GWR Gillard takes them into the cell tower hairpin back at the point. The number 46. He's already done a lot of damage to Brandon Carr's championship lead here at round number 2 so far. A pre-final win with the championship points leader still struggling further back is great news for Alex Stanfield as he heads over to turn number 15 once again. And he'll pull a lot. This has been his best section of the racetrack, especially compared to Henry Wheeler, pulling away a couple car lengths through 15, 16, 17, and 18. The number 46 rocking and rolling here at 2 full laps at full song. A 110.19, that is faster than anybody else on track by 2 full tenths of a second.
Stanfield showing us the kind of pace that he's had all day yesterday. Been one of the fastest drivers all weekend here in the OKN Stars category. He and Henry Wheeler starting to check out a little bit ahead of Josh Campbell there in third. Wes Duchek following in fourth. And Brandon Carr making his way up to the top 4, still sitting in that 5th position.
It's been a lot of learning here this weekend and really these last 2 months for Henry Wheeler. It's been a breakout summer stretch for the Brandon Jarzacrack Racing, Mike Doty Racing, Landon Norris kart driver, and KA Senior, and an OKN Stars as well. And he's getting a big lesson here this weekend of what it looks like to continuously race at the front of the field in every single session, where you've got a lot more of a high-speed chess match. Again, Stanfield, you know, if he were back in 15th and got passed like that, he probably would have passed Henry right on back. But in this case, he knows he can wait a little bit. He doesn't need to overdrive to try and make something happen. With only a couple cars around you and just a big lead, you can, you know, give a little bit, take a little bit, and just kind of learn. It's a much more drawn-out race than the all-out brawls we've been seeing.
And one of our quicker categories, high horsepower, it's going to experience some degradation on the tires. So if you push too hard at the beginning, you might experience some fall off towards the end of the race. One thing I want to point out, Alex Stanfield and Henry Wheeler running the exact same time down to the 1,000th of a second last lap by. So they're continuously moving forward, but that was not the fastest lap on the track. That belongs to Nicholas Terlecki down in 6th place with a 109.9, a tenth faster than your leaders currently.
And the only driver in that 109 second bracket in the entire field. So very impressive stuff from Nicholas Terlecki on the Hoach Driver Development Tony Kart. Let's see if he can keep that momentum rolling. He's lost a little bit, I think, this lap, or maybe the lap before that good one, to Brandon Carr, but they both have been tracking down Wes Duchek and Josh Campbell, and that's very similar to what we saw for Brandon Carr in that first heat race. Him kind of go backwards on the start. In this case, he started further back. And then kind of have a little bit better long-run speed than his Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart teammate. And the same, hopefully, is the case here for Nicholas Terlecki as he tries to make some more noise here this weekend. A cool deal for that team, the Hoach Driver Development Team, one of the smaller teams in the paddock, and the growing, no longer a small team, Brandon Jarzacrack Racing Camp. Well, they've got a big run. Henry Wheeler, my goodness, was he hauling the mail at the end of the front straightaway there.
A tenth faster than your leader last time by. Alex Stanfield doing a 109.8 to Henry Wheeler's 109.7. He's closed that gap up all the way. He's on that rear bumper. Alex Stanfield, the two top drivers fighting for that position, just farther behind. Josh Campbell, Wes Duchek, and Brandon Carr all in line fighting for themselves. Just a couple of kart links back from your leaders currently.
Yeah, just a little bit back here, but now just as much as Duchek and Campbell have been hunted down by Carr and Terlecki, Duchek's kind of gotten a little bit better than Josh Campbell the last couple of laps, so he's closing that margin again. He wants to get to third. Carr would like to get up there as well. That's that second group. They're losing touch a little bit with the top two of Alex Stanfield and Henry Wheeler, but they are close enough that if they really fight for the lead, they could get there, or they could fight enough themselves and take away that opportunity. We're at the halfway mark now, 5 minutes in, 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Here comes Wheeler, big run to the bumper of Stanfield. He'll hit that limiter, and he's going to push him down to turn 1. I think he's happy to ride for the moment and continue to learn as Duchek takes over P3.
Duchek not content to sit there in 4th place. He wants to lead this group towards your leaders. That fight for third heating up. Look at that. Brandon Carr to the inside. He'll take over that 4th spot as he moves just behind Wes Duchek. Josh Campbell going to drop down 2 places in the early stages, just past the halfway point of this lap. As they head towards the back section of this track, they'll head towards the cell tower corner. It's still Stanfield and Wheeler out in front, just a kart link separating them. This is the fight on track for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th as we see Duchek come through the cell tower corner with Carr just in tow. Right behind them, Josh Campbell all over the rear bumper of Brandon Carr, and Nicholas Terlecki just behind them, just out of frame as he looms behind this group in 6th place.
Brandon Carr, at least the good takeaway right now from the pre-final is his speed is enough. It's to run with the top 2 drivers. A 109.8 last time by. That matched the leaders. In fact, it was his personal best, and it was a couple hundredths better. This time will be a little bit worse with the pass made on Josh Campbell, but for Brandon Carr, this weekend's been a long journey to kind of get to the level of speed that he had at Trackhouse Motorplex with that Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart. So trying to get a little bit closer, might be close enough to make something happen here in a few moments for third and set himself up for a really prime starting position in that main event with more speed than he's had all weekend long. Alex Stanfield, Henry Wheeler continue to lead the way. This is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th on your screen as we go down side by side with Vincenzo Saraceno to find out what happened to the Pro Stars driver that DNF'd out of 3rd and 4th here in that pre-final.
Thanks, Danner. Vincenzo on course there for a top 3 finish for the pre-final. Handful laps to go. Mechanical issue. What happened?
Yeah, the belt snapped 2 to go. I felt it in I-70, just lost of power, and coming out of it, nothing happened. But I could feel the power starting to go like lap 6. Whenever AJ passed me 2 laps after that, I could feel it coming out of the corners. It had no juice, and then on the straight, I'd see Talon catch me, but that's part of the game, tough luck. We'll look forward to the final, make it fun.
Yeah, I mean, starting from the back now, new tires. I mean, how confident are you guys? I mean, how good is the go-kart on new tires, and you think you can work your way to the front?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think the top 5 is definitely possible. I mean, with the package we got with Maranello and Vermont Kart, I mean, just everybody on their tent's working so hard. So I'm confident for the final, make it fun for everybody to watch.
Thanks, Vincenzo.
Thank you, man.
There you hear from Vincenzo Saraceno. He's going to make this main event fun to watch, starting P19 to try and get himself back some points. Here's a look at 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th again. Ducek only a car length up from Brandon Carr. Carr that time by still even on speed to Alex Stanfield and Henry Wheeler, so it's taken a long run all weekend for each of these drivers to figure out both the go-kart and the carburation. This is still only, for everyone, at best their 2nd race on this package in the U.S. It is the 5th ever United States OKN event, with the first one coming back in January at the Challenge of the Americas West Coast Series. And look at this, all the way out of the grass. Ducek tried to fight that pass from Brandon Carr. He goes back down to 6th.
And he waved at the camera saying what happened there, as he was a late move by Brandon Carr, gets shoved wide at the exit. Wes Ducek going to fall back. A lot of loss of time there, as we see Brandon Carr move himself up into 3rd place. Josh Campbell still right behind him. Brandon Carr looking to make up for the lack of early pace this weekend, and we'll see Nicholas Terlecki make that move on Josh Campbell, move him up into the 4th place, Xander.
Yeah, and again, for Brandon Carr, trying to understand that situation, he'd been riding in the wake behind Wes Ducek for the last couple laps. Maybe he felt like that was the only opportunity he had seen, or he wouldn't get another one because there's still time left. It didn't need to be that late and that aggressive, or maybe he thought that if he would have waited a little bit longer and gotten closer, Ducek would have started defending for P3. In either case, that was definitely an egregious move from Brandon Carr, but for now he rides in 3rd with a little cushion out back, and unfortunately for Wes Ducek, all that hard work that he's been doing every single race this weekend after a bumper penalty took him to the back in qualifying, he's once again back there, now on the outside of row 3, potentially maybe even worse, as Aiden Fox and Ryan Raffa are starting to bear down on him coming to the 2 to go signal next time by.
And they're definitely making their moves up towards Wes Ducek. Luckily for Wes, it's not the end of the race for him, as we've seen for some others during the pre-final, just back to 6th place. But look at this, to the inside. Make that a move for the lead. Henry Wheeler back to the inside. Alex Stanfield, he'll take over the lead of this race. And Nicholas Terlecki by Brandon Carr for 3rd place.
Nicely done. Double passes there for the 1st and 2nd packs. Henry Wheeler's been pushing Alex Stanfield. He's been keeping his cards to himself and basically reading the deck that Alex Stanfield has at his disposal. When you ride that whole race behind the guy in front and you know you're faster, you're not letting him learn your line at all. And now he gets to try and pull away, as this battle has come unglued here for 3rd. Brandon Carr back on Terlecki. They know they've got no shot at catching the leaders. They're going at it on their own. Terlecki back to 4th. Campbell's looking inside P4. He'll take that spot back away, and Terlecki goes to 5th.
Beautiful move by Josh Campbell there, perfectly timed just to slot himself inside up into that 4th spot through the Celtal corner. Now he's going to try and get to work on Brandon Carr in that 3rd place. Nicholas Terlecki been making the most moves out of anyone this race I've seen, up and down throughout the order, hovering around this 3rd, 4th, 5th place position. He'll find himself in 5th as they come around to cycle through. 2 laps remaining, sticks in the air, and we'll head to the final couple of circuits at Newcastle Motorsports Park.
Brandon Carr going to start going low on the front straightaway here to kind of defend from his teammate Josh Campbell. Henry Wheeler, Alex Stanfield, they were 3/10 apart at the line. That's not close enough for Stanfield to make a move, so we'll try and keep a side-by-side angle of both action going on. Here is Brandon Carr's group. This is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Campbell still low to defend, or 3rd, 4th, 5th, sorry. Here's the leaders. Henry Wheeler has opened up a 3-car gap now on Alex Stanfield.
In our side-by-side camera, you see that battle raging on for 3rd, 4th, and 5th as leaders start to check out. A bit of spacing between the two. Henry Wheeler with a comfortable gap currently. The battle rages on. Brandon Carr still trying to hold on out front of that 2nd group. He, Josh Campbell, and Nicholas Terlecki still fighting it out. See who will start where come later today in their final.
So through the final couple turns, coming to the white flag, Henry Wheeler this time by, 1 to go. Alex Stanfield closing back up a little bit, but I don't know if he's got enough juice in the tank still to close that gap It's the last lap on their used up MG yellow rubber. Still watching that fight for second down at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Carr looks back. He knows that, again, Josh Campbell is looking to go by. Campbell signaled to go forward, but Carr is still low-lining, and here comes the rest of the pack. The rest of the top 10's coming up to this battle for third. It's Carr, Campbell, Terlecki, and then Duchak, Aiden Fox, Ryan Raffa. They're going to make it 6 cars deep now as they go into the infield hairpin.
It's the last lap of the race, and Wes Duchek may not have enough time, but he's made it back up to the group. He spent all race fighting with Nicholas Terlecki, makes it past Josh Campbell right there. Josh Campbell falling into the clutches of Wes Duchek. He's going to look and try and make some aggressive moves. He'll run to the outside, see if he can cross over Josh Campbell on the exit, and
Aiden Fox got through right there. Nicely done. Aiden Fox gets by on Duchek as he left the door open. He may have forgotten he was there. So now Campbell just trying to hang on for dear life. Here come your leaders through the final 2 turns on the bigger part of the screen. Henry Wheeler, Alex Stanfield getting every inch that he can. It's just not enough. Wheeler wins the pre-final in OKN Stars. Stanfield second. Here comes that next group. Brandon Carr is going to do a great job. He'll hang on to that 3rd spot as they cross the line. Terlecki 4th. Campbell 5th. Aiden Fox picks up that spot at the end over Duchak for 6th. Duchak, Raffa, Josh Holtz, Eli Fox, your top 10. Then Charlie Steins gets around Keegan Bosch on the final lap. He takes over 11th. Bosch 12th. Braden Domey on that Tesoro Raceworks CRG 13th. Miles Hewitt in 14th. Brooke Knockman 15th. Adam Roberts 16th. And Jarrett Bank on the number 90. Unfortunately, a DNF here in OKN Stars. We've got the lunch break coming up, folks. But again, great news for everybody tuning in. For all of us at Kart Chaser, we made the decision here alongside the group at Stars that we would forego our paywall. So if you're waiting to watch the main events and you don't have a subscription, you're in luck. As a thank you to all of you for supporting us here throughout the process of broadcasting races week in, week out. We want to do a good job for all of you. And since we missed most of Heat 1 and most of Heat 2, the main events today are fully free to view. So we're going to turn the stream off. We'll turn the main event stream on. But now, with or without a KC Premium membership, you'll be able to watch today's Stars Championship Series main events. It's all coming your way live from Newcastle Motorsports Park shortly for King of the Castle.